Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It is Thursday, and the Raptors lost to the Nets last night, losing the season series 1-3 with only one win in the whole entire year against the Atlantic Division. That is depressing. That is absolutely dreadful. It sucks, honestly, that we only won one game in our division this season. It is what it is. It's just like move on, get to the next season as soon as possible. Two more games in Miami, and we'll be done. So we'll play tomorrow and Sunday, and then boom, we're done. The season's over. Yeah, last night was an interesting game. I felt like we could have honestly beat them. In some ways, they had most of their team that's good, and we were pretty equal with them in some ways. Some of the things that happened in that game was Dennis Schroder. Dennis Schroder showed and proved that he is a veteran that knows how to win games. He knows how to win games in NBA. He knows how to win games in FIBA. And Dennis Schroeder's just like that. In some ways, he had a lesson for IQ. IQ's younger. Dennis has been in this league longer. IQ could have taken over the game and done some things, and he did. He was looking really good. In some ways, we saw promise and Emmanuel quickly last night that is very, very exciting. That in some ways he's not shying away from taking big shots and making them and taking over the game and doing huge things. Now, this is just scratching the surface, what we saw quick. But in some ways, you got to finish it. You can't leave it open. And he tried, and there was good chances, but the refs aren't going to call fouls anymore. This is the way the NBA is, and it's evidenced in the game against the Celtics the other day where they didn't get a single damn free throw. This is the way that the league's trending. So, like I've been saying all year, these guys can't count on the whistle. You've got to convert baskets to make the baskets. They're not going to give you the points. They may give some people the points because they want them to win, but they're not going to call the whistle for the Raptors usually. So that means you guys got to go and convert and not stand there and be like, oh, where's the foul? You just need to go fucking make the baskets because that's the only way you can ensure that you will make the points to be ahead and be on top. You cannot play to get bailed out by the whistle in this NBA ever anymore. You just can't. And y'all trying to do that in this NBA, you better stop because that's not a good skill. You need to be tough. You need to be strong. You need to finish through crazy, not very right contact, even if it's a foul, not say anything and just try and make it. That's the only way you got to play it today's NBA. Very physical with no fouls and whistles being called at this point. It is what it is. All right, let's do the reaction. Let's see what you guys are saying right now. The stars of the game, cosmic card of the day, all the different little things we do here. Chris is in first this morning. MSJ, hello, freaks. Decent game last night. I think with Kelly, we would have won. Mogay and Williams, even McDaniels, just god awful. Laugh out loud. I can only laugh at it. We got killed by the Nets bigs. Yeah, absolutely got killed. The length of Claxton was a problem. This was a weird game. Do you ever remember so many shot blocks and goaltends? There's a lot of dubious like goaltending calls and shot blocking calls last night, and that's just the length of guys like Claxton. And it's not only Claxton; they have like three guys on their team that are long and lankier than we have. In some ways, our long, lanky guys are skinny guys, and they don't match up well. Their guys have more veteran know-how than in some ways. Now, you're right. I feel like even if we just have one of those Canada guys that we sat out last night, Kelly or RJ, we would have won the game last night. Yeah, either one of them. It doesn't matter if it's the big and Kelly. If we had RJ out there to bolster our scoring, that game was so close. Yeah, he would have put us over the top. He would have put us over the top. In fact, he may have been that guy who did the thing that I just described about bullying through the contact and making points no matter what at the end of the game. But yeah, great game in a couple ways for different people. Great game for Grady Dick for his experience and getting his career high in points. Great game for IQ, showing us a little bit more about how he could possibly be a clutch leader and helping us close games with victory. But that's the other thing. We're a young team, and we're going to have to learn how to win close games like the one last night, like Dennis knows how to do. That's what I'm saying. You can see the value of Dennis Schroder in the game last night. In some ways, that's Dennis Schroder getting back at us for trading him because he really did want to be here. And in some ways, we made him have to be away from his family for a few months. And that sucks. That's painful. So, yeah, I can see why Dennis Schroder wants to kick our ass because he doesn't sleep in the same bed with his wife every night right now because she's in Toronto and he's in Brooklyn. So yeah, I still hate that we traded him because honestly, I feel like he's a really good piece, but I know it's for money reasons. It's for money reasons. That money needs to be freed up for the summer. But still, I wish that he was doing the things he did for the Nets last night for us still, because he was doing that shit earlier in the season. And not enough people recognize the great veteran presence of Dennis Schroder. You know, another great example of this is Thaddeus right now. You know what's going on is Suns are all a mess. And they're finding that when they play Thad Young, it stabilizes things and the lineup does better. Well, that's what I'm saying. Veterans have a place in this league. They know how to play the game right. And if Suns fans are saying we want to play Thad Young more all of a sudden, like Raptors fans felt like, yeah, he's steady when he comes out. And you feel like you can count on him. Well, that phenomenon is happening. And so there's something to be said about people that know what they're doing when they're on a basketball court. And Dennis Schroder and Thaddeus Young know what they're doing when they're on a basketball court. Garrett Temple knows what he's doing on the basketball court. Malik Williams does not know what he's doing on the basketball court. In fact, I'm so disappointed in Malik Williams right now. I don't understand this. Like, usually bigs can get the fundamentals of being a big down because being a big fundamentally is not that hard. I know how to be a big fundamentally, and it's real easy. It's about boxing out. It's about finding your person and putting a body on them. There's all kinds of different things. This guy's so flaky. This guy's really bad, guys. Like, I can't believe how bad he is. I haven't seen a big man come in this league like this in a while that's been so bad, like Malik Williams. Sure, he has a couple bright spots. He hit a three all of a sudden out of the blue, but he had nobody near him. And in some ways, that was a good sign. But no, this is stupid. In some ways, we're wasting our time with him. Mohamedou's weird because in some ways, he has promise, but he's so raw and weird. You know, in some ways, I'll blame last night's game being a close game, lost at the last second on Eric Curry and JFL and Mo Gee being out there. Because that's the pattern of the 905 all season is play a close game all game and then cough it up right at the end. That is what the 905 did pretty much in all of their games this season. They played close games all the time, and then inexplicably in the last 2 minutes they lose. This is just like a 905 game last night, how it went down with the Nets. And if Eric Curry had anything to do with it, get out of here. And I'm telling you, in some ways, he taught those G League guys how to do that. And I hate that kind of like pattern of learning. It's like, oh, this is how you get a close game all the way to the end, but you know, you're going to lose at the end. Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. It was like a 905 game last night. McDaniels is not looking good. You're right. In some ways, this is another example of a guy like, why the fuck do you not understand footwork? Why do you not understand, like, to figure out in your head what you might do with your body? It seems like you don't understand spacing on the floor, Jalen McDaniels. It seems like you don't understand the dimensions of your legs and your arms and your body to be able to fit into that space to fill in the gap with an offensive body that knows how to use their body through that open space to convert or make a shot. You are so wild and weird and crazy. And for being this many years in your pro career, you suck, bro. Seriously. Listen, and some people have been like, why are you standing up for Jalen McDaniels? Well, last night, I saw things last night where I'm like, this guy has all the opportunities to do things, but he doesn't understand how to play with his body type. There's something really weird about McDaniels that's just not connecting. And it's annoying the hell out of me because honestly, in a game like last night, he should have been way, way better at this point in his career. And something's wrong with him. I'm worrying about the intelligence of some of our players on our team. I know some of our players are extremely intelligent, have high basketball IQs, have good fundamentals, and play at a very high level. Guys like IQ, Scotty, Grady, RJ, Kelly, Jakob. But there's a whole group of temporary guys that are on our team right now that aren't very bright. Let's just put it that way. Jalen McDaniels, Javon Freeman Liberty, and Malik Williams. These guys are not smart people. And in some ways, it shows because they're just not intelligent about how they look at their careers and how they're working on their careers. In some ways, you could talk to them and be like, why don't you box out better, Malik Williams? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why don't you do this better? You know, why didn't you practice bunnies over and over again? Why can't you make close shots? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously, what have you been doing with your life? And Jalen McDaniels, if I had that type of body in my life in NBA, I would be able to score better. Let's just say it. I would be able to figure out in my mind, this is what I do. Maybe you need to go sit with IQ on the sideline and just kind of pre-visualize with him a little bit, and maybe think about your moves and how your body should move to get you to successfully score. Because in some ways, there's a huge disconnect in your brain that you just don't understand how to score in this league. And JFL, man, there's different things with you that bug me. But in some ways, it's the same thing with all three of them. They're just not prepared in the correct way to be professionals in the NBA. They just don't get the groundwork laid in their younger years to have the right mentality and the right way to work with a goal in mind. I feel like that's part of the problem with McDaniels, is that he never had a finished product in his mind of what he will be, and he has no idea what to become. And that's the problem right there. He has no destination. He has no idea in his head. Maybe he's not smart enough to figure it out. Jalen, are you smart enough to figure out the player you want to be in the NBA? Because shit, you're in trouble with your NBA career if you don't. Like, seriously, what's the end goal? What's the finished product, Jalen McDaniels? What are you working towards? Oh, I just want to make money. I'm in the NBA. I'm a tall guy, whatever. Okay, that's your fucking life then. You're never going to get anywhere in the NBA. You won't be a Garrett Temple. And that's the problem right there. These motherfuckers need to figure out what kind of player they're going to be, because they're wasting everybody's time otherwise. They are wasting everybody's time otherwise. I'm saying that right now. Yeah. Yeah, the bigs of the Nets killed our ass. Nicholas Claxton, lots of goaltending calls, but also a lot of blocks. It's amazing how many goaltending block calls were going on in the game last night. All right, Trevor Jay's here. Good to see the commissioner of fun. Trevor Jay, good morning, Raptors family. It was a good fight to the end. Dick was on fire and IQ balled out. He's an exciting point guard. I mean, there really are huge bright spots. And Manuel Quickly is definitely one. All right, let's do this first. We'll do the classic card of the day, and then we'll get into Trevor's comment because I have a lot to say about what he's saying. So here we are. Here's the classic card of the day box, a beautiful commission box by Trevor. He bought these cards and sent them to me so we could have fun on this channel. And that's why he's the commissioner of fun, Trevor J. So write in the answer in the chat, and you'll get 100 points out of your Raptor Freak trivia score. And remember the rule, full name only. Don't half-ass me. Don't give me that last name. Don't give me the first name. Tell me the whole name of the person, because there's a lot of common names in the NBA these days. That's right. All right, let's see. Who do we get today? Oh, wow. This is going to be something else. And honestly, this will be tough. This will be tough. All right, I got a good clue for it, though, today. All right, let's start from the bottom over here, where we start from the bottom. Okay, Drake. All right, here it comes. First person to write it in. Full name. All right, there we go. Look at that. I want to try and bring it up close. Can you see who that is? Can you see who that is? It's a little tough. It's a weird one. That's a green ugly jersey, so we know which team he's on here. But can you tell who that is? It's a little bit weird. I don't know. I don't even have a guess yet. Y'all are scared to guess? Isaiah Thomas? No, it's not Isaiah Thomas. Don Lemon. He does look like Don Lemon, and that is actually a very good guess because he is a broadcaster also like Don Lemon. Robert Parrish. No, that's not Robert Parrish. But yeah, he looks exactly like Don Lemon. Fiercey is exactly right, but this is the other guy. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get you your comment, Infamous. I know you're writing about that. I'm gonna shit on both of them. Don't worry, I'm gonna shit on both of them. Don't worry about it. It's Don Lemonade. No, that's not Don Lemonade. Come on, guys, this is an NBA player, and I gave a good clue. He is a broadcaster, just like Don Lemon is. Dana Barros. That's an interesting guess, Isaac. He's too tall to be Dana Barros. He's too tall. And Dana Barros was more Seattle, not Celtics. There we go. Stargate got it. That is the Philadelphia color commentator, Ala Abdelnaby. He actually is the color commentator for the Sixers at this point. He is from Egypt, and Stargate got it. Ala Abdelnaby of Duke. He played for the Duke Blue Devils in college. And yeah, that's a pretty tough one, honestly, because like people don't really remember. He didn't have a very long career. And yeah, that's pretty impressive. Good job, Stargate. Stargate coming through the Stargate and getting the classic card of the day. 100 points for you, my guy, for knowing that's Ala Abdelnaby. That's right, Abdelnaby. He is one of the few players that's from Egypt that played in the NBA. Yeah, there you go, guys. There you go. Good stuff. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Good job. All right, now getting back to this. We'll start with the stars of the game. First, my number one star is Immanuel Quickley. I would give it a Grady for his career high, but Immanuel did show way more in certain ways as far as leadership, control, and taking over the game at the end of the game. 10 of 24 for Emmanuel, 4 of 11 from three, 8 of 8 shooting from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 4 turnovers, 32 points in 34 minutes. That's fantastic game, plus 5. Flirting with the triple-double once again. Perfect at the line. Look at the difference between having Grady and IQ in the lineup and compared to the night before. Look at how much better we were from three from the night before. And, IQ just ran things smoother. In some ways, that was very interesting to see the dichotomy of RJ and Kelly out and in, and Emmanuel and Grady out and in. And it was very, very interesting to see how that unit ran last night. Brooklyn is not a good team. In some ways, if we, like Chris said at the top, if we had one more of the other guys that was sitting out, we probably would have won last night, honestly. But quickly, you showed a potential to be a closer. You showed a potential to control the game to help the Raptors to win. But the thing is, we're going to have ratcheted up the pressure every single time. And y'all got to get good at executing under pressure. That's how the best teams get to the top and win the championship. You've got to ratchet up that pressure every single time. This is the Nets. Their pressure isn't as hard as the Celtics. And in some ways, you're going to have to know how to do things in tough crunch time situations all together as a unit. And in some ways, there was a failure of that at the end of the game. But that's not really the Raptors' fault to a degree because there's injuries, and this is not the real Raptors team. I'm saying this right now. I'm going to reject most of the guys that are playing for the Raptors for coming back next year right now. Because honestly, unless they're a core or under contract for next season, I don't want to bring them back. Because honestly, we could fill in the roster better than what's going on with these guys right now. And if you have your heart's desire on Malik Williams or Javon Freeman Liberty, I'm sorry. I'm going to rain all over your parade today. That's right. My second star of the day is Grady Dick. He got his career high, 24 points, 9 of 20 shooting, 6 of 14 from three, 4 rebounds, -2. Grady was awesome. And you saw the different ways that Grady could shoot. And one thing that I really loved about Grady last night was he was aggressive to shoot. That he wasn't taking no second guesses. If he got the shot and he was open, he's shooting. And that's what we want. He's the best shooter on our team. And every single time he has it open, he needs to take that shot because he's going to shoot like this. And I can see the potential for Grady getting 40-point games now. I really, really can, because I was wondering if he could do this in volume. But yeah, he can. He's already doing this by the end of the season. I don't know if anybody could have portended a 24-point game for Grady in November of last year, at the beginning of the season. I don't think anybody would have said, yeah, Grady's going to get 24 in a game by the end of the season, the way he looked when he first showed up at the beginning of the season. So his strides and his growth this season have been amazing, and they're a real bright spot this season. Grady, after the game, talking about how he has to get better physically. Obviously, that's number one on his priority list for the summer, to build weight and strength and to be looking a little bit more older as he comes back with his body. So I can see that. And once again, like Darko and Grady said after the game, these kind of situations like last night are so invaluable for a young 20-year-old that just came in the league as a rookie to get that kind of reps and experience and a real NBA experience out there in those kind of things is awesome. And that there's nothing wrong with anything that happened with Grady last night. Honestly, that kid is on it. He is intelligent. He's smart. He's all over the place. And I believe in him when he takes shots. In fact, that feeling around the Raptors franchise is new. We've never had this, even when we've been in these years with Scott and Freddie and OG and Pascal. We never had sure shots on our team where you're like, yeah, he's going to make it. And well, having IQ and Grady around makes you feel confident when people shoot shots from outside. There's not going to be any of these missing open threes or kind of like, wow, why can't we buy a basket? No, these guys are fundamentally good and they are sure shots. And when they shoot, I believe it's going in. And it's nice to have that kind of confidence as a Raptor fan, because there's been many years where we would have open shots and we'd miss them. And it was like, what the fuck? Why are we missing these shots? No, these guys don't make these open shots. And we saw this tested last night. IQ having all the time in the world at the top of the key and just dialing in and making sure that shot goes in, like with his perfect footwork and his perfect shooting form. Grady, same thing. It doesn't matter. If they give him all the daylight in the world, if they leave him open, he's going to nail it. And we saw Grady taking shots with a quick release last night. Very, very quick release. where not a whole lot of time to decide I'm going to shoot, just doing it naturally and just doing it it's the thing to happen right then, like no second guessing. And I love that. I love that. Grady, no filter, no conscience. Just shoot that ball, my guy. Just shoot it. I don't care, man. You got the green light every time. My third star is Javon Freeman Liberty. He did have a nice start once again, like he did the game before. 24 minutes, 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 12 points for Javon. Yeah, look, he does the hoop and stuff. He can get hoops. He can hoop out there. But there's still other things that really bug me about him. And in some ways, once again, he only got 1 assist. And then also, at some point, the scoring peters out. It's almost like he starts hot and he gets out there and he runs it up like crazy. He looks real good right from the start. But over the course of the game, he disappears and he's not contributing to help with the scoring as the game goes on. It's like in the last game, he got 16 points in the first quarter, and then he got 4 points for the rest of the game. Now, there's a little bit of that going on with Javon right now, too. A strong starter, but fading as the game goes on. And in some ways, we need his consistency to come and give us hoops at different times. It would have been nice. I know he didn't get to play much at the end of the game because he wasn't in the unit that was closing the game out. But in some ways, I could have argued, yeah, maybe he should have been out there a little bit more in the fourth quarter to help with the scoring to close the game out. I could have said that. So in some ways, I'm going to be fair to Javon today. I'm grouping him with those other guys because honestly, I do not want Javon Freeman Liberty going forward with our team. I really, really don't, because I don't see what the point is. I really don't. I don't see the point. All right, those are my 3 stars. And I say I will give an honorable mention to Abaji for just working hard, and maybe a little bit to Nwara. Nwara was really active and getting after it. He had a block or 2 that was really nice. So, yeah, those guys kind of honorable mention. All right, let's get back in the comments here and see what let's see. Trevor's saying Darko said that Williams is a hard worker and a nice guy, and they're excited to continue to look at him. Yeah, they're going to look at him for another 3 days, and they're not going to look at him ever again after that, Trevor. I'm going to say that right now. Seriously, he has been a fail. In some ways, it's so weird. It's like I haven't seen a big this bad since like the Bosch era. Like, seriously, we haven't had I would look at Frey Gillespie. Man, Frey Gillespie looks like Olajuwon compared to this guy. Seriously, this guy is bad. He is bad. Let me go break down his box score and talk about why he's annoying me. Listen, he got a lot of rebounds last night, and that is exactly what we need him to do. In some ways, the only reason why he's on our team right now is because we need a default center. We can't go absolutely no center. So he's here, and in some ways, they maybe even calculate this guy's not very good. So it doesn't mean he's not going to help us in some way, because like all he is a big body. He can rebound, but he's not even a very good shot blocker. He's very not dialed in. Like he takes different plays off. Like sometimes he's okay and sometimes he's not, and he's not boxing out right. A lot of the second chance is a big fault on him from last night. And then plus he has no offense whatsoever. He was 3 for 10. Usually guys that are big like him that shoot all their shots next to the basket are like Jakob Poeltl, and they shoot about 70% from the field. This guy, since he showed up on the Raptors, he's playing next to the basket. He's shooting 20% from the fields or some shit like that. That's awful. That is awful. This guy is a bust, and he's in some ways, get him the fuck off my team. The only reason why we have him right now is kind of like on a video game where you have that very generic backup center guy. You have to fill out your team, and just the last person left on the waiver wire, and he's absolutely got minimum rankings in the video game. And you're just like, I got to put him in because I have to have a center. This is exactly what this is right now. Maybe they did a favor to Nwara and said, hey, your buddy can be on the team for a little while, but this has been a waste. Did you see how much time they spent on the court last night explaining to him how to play our defense? I know he just showed up, but listen, this is the way the NBA is, Trevor. It's fast-paced, and adjustments and changes need to be made. If somebody ain't getting the adjustments and changes and can't adapt and learn things quickly, then they don't need to be fucking on my team, because they're going to drag us down. They're going to be too slow. And that's part of the why I brought up aptitude and IQ, not the player IQ, but literal IQ, intelligence quotient, as far as picking up and learning quickly, because the NBA is constantly evolving inside the games even. And honestly, if this guy can't pick up our fucking system in a couple of days, at least the basics of it, where the point where IQ's got to tell him and ream him out every other play about why he missed his assignment, we don't need to be teaching kindergarten. We got rid of Nick Nursery. We don't need to be having nursery kids on our team that need to learn the basics of basketball because they weren't prepared correctly coming to the league in the first place. This is the problem with the young players these days. These kids are not anywhere near the fundamentally same that the young kids that came up. There's way better fundamental kids that never made the NBA, and these kids are getting a chance. These jokers that they're not even prepared. It's like they don't even know the basic fundamentals of basketball, which is so fucking crazy and stupid to me. It makes me mad, honestly, because in some ways it's like these guys are like, oh, I'm getting my chance and stuff. You don't fucking deserve your chance because you have not made yourself into a player that's anywhere near ready to be in the NBA because of the way you play. That's what I would say to this. Seriously, you don't deserve your chance because you have not prepared or put in the work the right way to be an NBA player. That's just the damn truth. And I'm sorry. I mean, I may be being harsh today, but that is just the damn truth in my eyes. At least listen, why should we wait around for Javon Freeman Liberty to become a point guard? Why should we wait around for that shit? Why don't we just go get a point guard? Why do we have to wait for him to be, oh, I'm going to develop my skills to become a point guard? It's going to be a long process. Motherfucker, we just had Malachi on our team this year. I ain't having this shit again. 3 years of waiting around for people to become NBA point guards. Fuck that shit. We get point guards already ready to be point guards in point guard bodies. We don't get shooting guards and point guard bodies that aren't ready to be point guards. It don't make no fucking sense. Like, seriously, let's think about this logically. Why do we want to invest time in developing guys at that level for those kind of skills? It's like Paul Jones said the other day on Raptors Tonight. What the fuck is wrong with these kids coming in and thinking they got to learn everything about basketball at the NBA level? Seriously, that's the biggest problem I have with JFL. Is he's so arrogant, he thinks he could be like whatever he wants and it'll fit in the NBA. Fuck that shit. You need to fit for the NBA, bitch, if you want to make the NBA. And you better hightail your ass to becoming a point guard quick this summer, because in the fall, if you ain't no kind of point guard, I ain't want you nowhere near the Raptors roster. Because seriously, we ain't wasting our time waiting for guys to learn how to play point guard that should have been fucking playing point guard for 20 years already. Seriously, what is this? What is this? I don't want to waste no time with jokers that are half-assed in this league because they half-assed their position and how they should have learned it. And that's Malik Williams at the center forward, and that's Javon Freeman Liberty at the point guard, and that's Jalen McDaniels at whatever the fuck position he hasn't decided who he is because he doesn't know who the fuck he is himself. That's the problem with those three guys right there. I'm not even going to put Muhammadu in there because he has promise. I've seen progress with Muhammadu this season. I've seen him get better. I've seen him learn. I've seen him do stuff. Now, he makes a lot of dumb mistakes still, but there's promise with him out of those four guys. He has something he can still become. If he fills out a little bit more, his shot blocking and some of the things he can do will keep him in this league. But, man, those other three guys are jokes. And I don't know. In some ways, everybody's like, wow, you really turned on Jalen McDaniels today. Yeah, because last night I saw shit that just I can't, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? There was lanes he could have ran down. There's all kinds of shit he could do. He has no footwork. He has no idea what he can do with his body to use as an instrument on an NBA court. And that's sad. That's sad because he has all the gifts in the world, but nothing's going on up here to tell the body what to do. And that's a problem. That's a big, big problem right there. That's right. Trevor J saying mornings are a reminder that we have another chance to seek wisdom and make a difference in someone's life today. Yeah, I like that. Good words of wisdom, Trevor J. I like that a lot. Yeah, every day is a new chance, and it's nice to wake up and have that gratefulness of being alive still. Jeez. I know that sounds grim, but it's true. Chris is saying Williams looks limited. Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, I mean, if we look at his stats for his little bit of time, they're ugly, Chris. Let's just put it that way. They are very ugly. For me, I was just glad to see IQ and Dick mix it up. Yeah, they were awesome. I mean, they were definitely awesome last night. In some ways, they carried us very heavily. And I was so excited to see it. It was really good. JFL and Wara are the same off the bench, and all of the commentators are now pro JFL. Well, listen, there were glimmers of things that made me think, all right, if he can do this in this way consistently, he may have a chance. But I still stand by my rant I just did. Like, seriously, bro, Nobody needs to be playing catch up with their development on totally on the position that they should have been practicing since they were a little kid already. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. He says stuff like it really infuriated me in the press conference after the last game where he said, I've always wanted to pass to everybody, but I just became the scorer at some point. Bullshit. It's a mindset. It's a mindset, Javon. And if you can go and talk to Scotty, you would understand the mindset. If you go and talk to Marquise, you would understand the mindset a little bit better. No, you have a scorer's mindset. Don't give me this bullshit that you wanted to pass to everybody when you were younger. That's bullshit. That's absolute horse shit. Because if you wanted to do that, you just do that. You'd naturally be that player like Scotty. Because Scotty's got all the reason in the world to be a scorer like you and go crazy, but he's not. In some ways, it infuriates me in some ways that Scotty wants to be a facilitator more than he wants to be a scorer himself. In some ways, I wish Scotty had more of your mentality and you had more of Scotty's mentality, JFL. Because seriously, no, that's bullshit. You trying to say, oh, I always wanted to pass to everybody, but I always ended up being the one scoring. Yeah, because you didn't fucking pass it. Seriously, you could develop point guard skills 10 years ago, guy. Why are you wasting our time on the Raptors level? That you got all the way to the point where you're playing for the Raptors, starting games for them, and now we got to wait for you to catch up to play the most rudimentary position, the position that most kids learn when they're young. How the fuck did you do this? There's all these centers in the league that learn point guard first. Like there's these, you always hear interviews with centers and they're saying, yeah, I was a point guard when I was younger and I just grew up. That's partly everybody should start as a point guard because the ball handling, the passing skills are learned at the point guard position. I don't give a shit if you grow up to be 7'4" Zach Edey. If you have the point guard skills already on you, that's just gonna make you even more attractive. That makes me question how smart he is. It's like, look, even centers and big guys are practicing as being point guards. Scotty practiced as being a point guard, even though he's crazy tall. There's a lot of big guys that learned at point guard. Gary Trent learned at point guard earlier in his life, and that set him up for certain things. Why the fuck didn't you do this? Seriously, and why do you expect us to let you be on our team because you didn't put in the work before in your career to do what you should be for the league? Why do you expect us to wait around and wait for you to go ahead and figure out how to be a point guard, JFL? Seriously, why do you expect the Raptors organization to wait around for this? Oh, because Masai said he will? He's going to wait for you? Maybe he will. And I'll be like, what the fuck, Masai? Why are we waiting around for another Malachi? Seriously, it's stupid. It's stupid. Why can't these guys come to the NBA prepared to play in the NBA? Seriously, that's what I'm wondering right now. Why? Why can't they? Why can't they? Seriously. Trevor's saying we all can have opinions on players, but we are not coaches and we do not see what the coaches see. I mean, we do. It's just that we don't all have the acumen to interpret it the same way that the coaches would. I don't see what's going on in practice. I don't see what's going on in daily interactions with personalities. I don't see that stuff, but I can see what's happening in the games. I can see what's happening with certain people and like the deficiencies and what they're lacking as being able to be NBA players. So, yeah, I mean, if you're not educated and don't understand basketball philosophy and fundamentals and what wins in the NBA, well, you're going to have a different view than somebody who does, obviously. Yeah, Cowboys saying good morning, Lex, and the Raptor Freaks. Dap to Cowboy. Bradley, good to see you. That was a block party for Brooklyn. Anyways, on to the next. My 3 stars are Emmanuel Grady, and I got to give one to Schroder. See, he's giving one to the other side. Honestly, he was the star of the game. Schroder won that game for them. He stepped up big time and won that game. There was talking between Quickly and Schroder, lots of talking, and rightfully so. In some ways, they're trash talking. Well, Schroder got the last laugh, and he did the little laugh to his face when he made the last basket. He went right up to Emmanuel, got in his face, and ha, 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 he did the point and laugh, which he does to people sometimes, Dennis Schroder. Yeah, but they're friends. They're fine. In some ways, this was totally a friendly little back and forth. Although, when Quickly did do something to Schroder at one point in the game, the bench really started talking some crazy stuff from the court. From the side of the court, Scotty and Gary in particular is taunting Dennis, it seemed like, after Emmanuel kind of burned him on a play. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting stuff going on there. In some ways, I'm glad Dennis got the last laugh. Seriously. In some ways, we didn't deserve to win the game completely because we didn't have totally professional players out there. And Dennis, being a professional and playing like a professional, professionally won that game last night, and that's just the damn truth. Seriously, let me look at the team stats because we're bringing up the blocks, and they are really interesting. First of all, they shot better than us. We had more shots on the goal, 94 to 86, but they shot 44%. We shot 37%. So there was some really bad shooting last night. Three-pointers, we did great, though. 16 threes to their 11, shot 40% from three. So we really actually shot better from three than we did from near the basket. I blame Malik Williams. I do in some ways. Grady and IQ shoot better from the outside than our center does near the basket. That's a problem. Free throws, we got to the line quite a bit, and the refs were quite nice to us, but they did give the Nets more free throws in the end. We shot 89% from the free throws, and that's very good. They out-rebounded us by 11, and that's that length that we're talking about. Claxton, Trendon Watford, a couple of the others guys there that they got on the other side. Clowney, he's another one. The assists, only 19 assists last night. I hate that. In some ways, we need to get the assists higher. The blocks. They got 15 blocks last night. And not only that, there were like 4 or 5 goaltending calls too. So they were block party for sure. That would have been like almost 20 blocks if you added all the goaltends with the blocks. So yeah, the Nets were definitely up in that air, blocking everything down low. And maybe that's part of the reason why the shot percentage near the basket was so bad and the 3-point shooting was better than the 2-point shooting near the basket. His footsteps were heard, and there were long arms swaying around, and that's a problem. We beat them in turnovers, which is good, 15-10, and points in the paint. They beat us 48-32. It was a very close game with a lot of lead changes and the score. And honestly, it was entertaining. It was fun, but I just wish we had closed out and won the game. In some ways, people are saying, "Well, we didn't want to win anyway." Well, actually, we can win right now. There's a stat out saying that, well, if Memphis wins one more game or we lose one more game, well, it's all set. It's not going to change how they end at the end. They're just going to be in the 6th worst position, and we'll be fine. And we'll have that 45.9% chance of keeping our protected pick from San Antonio. So it's pretty much set in. We just have to either lose once or Memphis wins once, and we're locked into our spot for the final standings about the end of the year. So let's see. Trevor's saying Claxton was a problem for us last night, blocking everything. Yeah, who was that masked man who threw his mask down at one point? And I wondered if he'd get a technical for throwing his mask on the floor, but he didn't. No, he's a great player. And honestly, it's weird because he got so many goaltending calls last night. And I don't know. It is what it is. Claxton is a fantastic player. If he was playing in a Raptors jersey, I'd be happy. Yeah. Cowboys saying, man, I wish Temple waited for his players to set up after that great steal near the end of the game. But, oh, well, let's go. Yeah. You're talking about Garrett? You're wishing that Garrett waited for his players to set up after that great steal? There was really great plays. But once again, this shows inexperience and kind of like not being total professional players. You can get a ball loose, but then cough it up immediately right afterwards. We really didn't protect the ball correctly in some ways last night. And there would be really good plays that would happen, but I call them half plays, where it's like we make something happen and we're like, ooh, but then there's immediately a play afterwards where we lose the ball or something stupid happens. And there's a lot of that last night where we get something that looked like it was going to be good happening, and then all of a sudden something dumb would happen. As far as somebody would not do something fundamentally correct, or there's a miscommunication and then a turnover or something like that. Yeah, there was a bit of that last night. Chris is saying, as a quick aside, I can't believe Bronny James entered the draft. He shoots 36% in college, 5 points per game, 25% from the three. Rather unbelievable anyone would draft him with a different last name. Oh, yes, and yes, and yes. Chris, you're just speaking the truth. I'm going to give you a 3-pointer because this is so true. I mean, honestly, the only thing that matters about him is his last name. He's not getting anything on the merits of his play because he hasn't done jack shit. He barely played this season, and his stats were shitty, just like Chris said. So, yeah, that's why I want to really see how this pans out. I think that the Lakers may pick him with the 55th pick near the end of the draft, or they may not even need to do that. They'll just wait until after the draft's over and sign him undrafted to the team. But I think that in some ways, LeBron wants to stay in LA. In some ways, his whole promise to go and be with whatever team gets Ronnie is kind of a convoluted way of him trying to get his son drafted. In some ways, he's saying this bullshit, but we don't know if he can part the waves and the waters of the Red Sea to just walk from the Lakers to another team when his son goes to any team all of a sudden in a crapshoot. I mean, if he's undrafted, he chooses who he signs with. So he could choose the Lakers straight up if he doesn't get drafted. In some ways, I mean, I get it. They have to declare for the draft. In some ways, him being so shitty, he probably won't get drafted. And it probably will be like an undrafted add-on. Who knows? We'll have to see. Either way, yeah, you're exactly right, Chris. Your point is right all around. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Slightly annoyed with the loss, but I believe it was necessary to see how the remaining pieces fit. Why is Oshai's defense way better than that taller Williams? This right here. I'm telling you, this guy's not very smart. In some ways, I saw him sitting with Jama before the game, going over stuff on the computer for a long, long time. And sometimes you can just tell when people just are not processing things. The fact that these guys have to go over so much with him in the middle of the game, I get it. He's only had a couple practices. He's been around for a week. But still, there's people like Jonte who there's an article and things about it. He picks up stuff really quick. There's a lot of guys that can pick up stuff quickly. And in some ways, that's part of the reason why I didn't agree with getting somebody outside the 905 system at this late stage of the season. We'd be much better off with McCurr in that spot than Malik Williams because he already worked in our system this whole season, and he doesn't need all the explaining to like Emmanuel quickly did to Malik Williams last night because this man played in the system all year at 905. So in some ways, let's not do this next time. I don't know why y'all picked Malik Williams because you thought maybe he's got a future or something. I would have picked one of the 905 guys because the continuity of the system is not harder to learn because it's not totally absolutely brand new. Because Mike Maker has played in Eric Curry's system on 905, which is supposed to duplicate the system of Darko, the whole system. So bring his ass up and let him play, or Kevin O'Banner, or freaking Justice Winslow again. In some ways, that's why you have a farm team. That's why you have a young team, is because you can have guys ready to go with your plan, with your coach's system, with the way he likes to run things, ready to go. Instead of bringing somebody from another G League team who has no idea anything, and you're throwing them in the fire and they can't do jack shit. In some ways, that is the responsibility of Luke Wynn to keep the stock of players on the 905 at different positions to come in at a moment's notice to jump in and fill in. That's the way it should be done. In some ways, we shouldn't be looking at other teams to go get guys sometimes. In some ways, we should look here first and get guys from here first, Masai and Bobby and Luke Wynn. And in some ways, it's dependent on Luke Wynn getting a good pipeline at all positions. You need to have a good point guard that's ready just in case. We need somebody that's a point guard. We need a point guard, a real point guard, not Javon Freeman Liberty. And we need a center. We need a backup center that's ready to be called up from the 905 at a moment's notice, that will know the system and is ready to come up and play in that part correctly, unlike Malik Williams. I'm just saying, this would be the smartest way to use it. We're already using a lot of our own players in call-ups this season. In the future, it would just be smart to have this positional depth in this kind of way by using the 905. And that's the biggest problem with Williams. He's just too green and not knowing our system and the way we do things, coming in so quick. And he's not smart enough to learn it fast enough. And he's not catching it very good or quickly. And in some ways, well, that's it. In some ways, the NBA is fast-paced, and you have to adapt constantly. And if you can't swim in this sea, you're going to sink. And that's what I'm saying. You got to have the aptitude and the smarts to do it quickly and get in there and do it fast when you get your opportunities and chances. In some ways, you can't get in your own head and say, I'm failing. I'm not doing this right. No, you need to jump in and dive in those books. And you can't be like, oh, I'm in the NBA, all this stuff. No, you need to be talking to Jim Sand. You need to be talking to Jama and Coco and Pat Delaney and learning everything as quickly as possible if you get that 10-day call up. Yeah, I mean, it's just annoying, man. It's just annoying. Annoying. Yeah. Why is he better? Because Oshai understands defense and fundamentals better than Malik Williams does. That is why, Fiercey. Because Oshai Abaji is a better fundamental defender who understands positioning and using your body in between people And Malik does not. He's like letting people go around him. He's not getting anybody. He's not figuring out where his guy is to go figure out how to, it's just fundamentals is basically what it is. Fiercely saying also, Williams ain't it. I'm sorry. Gay is inconsistent. Grady, my goodness, day and night from the beginning of the season, he tweaked his game within a few months. Very impressive. In some ways, I'm really, really love Grady's outlook. He talked about it after a game again about social media and not paying attention to it at all. In some ways, a younger player may have looked at social media in the middle of the season where people were saying this guy's garbage, he's a bust, he shouldn't be in this league. Grady didn't see any of that talk around November, December. Thank God. And in some ways, this is part of the great thing about him is that he has a confidence in himself that isn't reliant on outside validation. And that's a very important thing if you're going to be a high caliber shooter in the NBA, because he knows that his skills are good because he worked on them for all of his life and that he unconsciously can make threes. And in some ways, it doesn't do him any good getting in his head overthinking things about other people's opinions and stuff. The truth is, he's a great shooter and he's fundamentally worked hard at what he does. And any jabroni that said anything anywhere won't matter. And that's great. There's some players that probably it fucks with people because they go and look. They go and look at the comment section. They go and see what other people are saying. And they gather a whole other level of mental bullshit, that obstacles they have to overcome. And Grady's not doing that. His family's really good about shielding him from social media stuff. And they don't bring it up too. I'm sure that they have a lot of rules. It's like Carmen Dick ain't going to bring up like Jabroni A on Facebook in this comment section or something like that. No, they're not talking about all that. They keep their eyes on what matters, and that's continuing to develop that young man, his physical body, and his skills for the NBA and the Raptors. And that it's awesome, man. In some ways, I had the first impulse last night that I don't want Grady to ever leave our team. In some ways, I was like, if he pans out, he wins, he's going to be good. That's great. In some ways, I don't care. But now I'm valuing him to the point where I'm worried about his contracts in the future and keeping him on our team and him not getting lured away in free agency. Yeah. That's how much he's improved right now. Before I was like, if he makes it, that's great. I hope he's not a bust. Well, now I'm like worried about we need to invest and make sure that we lock him down with contracts in the future because I don't want him walking in free agency. Yeah, that's where we're at this point. It has been quite a season with Mr. Grady Dick. Quite a season indeed. Fiercely saying IQ is solid when the ball is in his hands. I'm not stressed as he is prepared and focused. Straight shooter, but also amazing facilitator. So excited for the next season, fam. Very smart player that knows what the right play is in any time. And he's the thing I'm really loving about him. He's a better rebounder than Malik Williams. Seriously, what is what's wrong with this? Why is he a better rebounder than Malik Williams? He's the point guard, and he's got so many other things going on. He's juggling so many balls, but he's still going in there and battling and getting rebounds for us. It's awesome. Some of the effort for rebounds was fantastic last night. We saw like 3 Raptors going after the same rebound. That effort is awesome. And IQ is a part of that. He's so good. And I'm so happy he's on our team. And man, we got to pay him this summer and he can be our point guard for the future. That's what I'm saying. Fiercely saying, if Kelly played, we win, but I'm good with the outcome. It was exciting to watch. Yeah, in some ways it was a Dennis revenge game. In some ways we did Dennis wrong. And in some ways, if this helps Dennis feel better about this year and how it turned out by the end of it, I'm okay with it. In some ways, I don't mind Dennis getting a little revenge against us last night. I really don't. In some ways, that's just balancing out the right and the wrong of the world. Because in some ways, we did Dennis wrong this year. Kareem saying the only player who's been the most consistent one on the team since October has been Jaden McDaniels. Okay, he's on Minnesota. He's been ass cheeks from the jump. His nonchalant demeanor is very aggravating. I demand a refund. All right, Kareem. Listen, he's making $4 million a year. He's going to make $4 million next year. Listen, this summer is the most important summer of your life, Jalen McDaniels. Seriously, bro. You need to figure out some of the stuff I was dissing you with earlier. If that makes you mad, if you ever heard me, I probably won't. That's what you need to figure out. Why the fuck can't you pre-visualize what move you're going to do? Like, you should have a set of moves in your skill bag that like you go to. Like, why don't you have like moves to beat people to the basket? Why don't you have like more set up stuff? Like, why are you not more polished? Why aren't you more refined? Why are you so raw and so uncontrolled and so like aggravatingly like, what the fuck are you doing when you're out on the court? Seriously. Why are you like that, McDaniels? I don't understand it. You have all the gifts in the world. What the fuck are you doing? What's not connecting up here? Seriously, my guy. This summer is the most important summer of your life. You want to play for the Raptors next year? When you want to do things with your NBA career, you need to get after it this summer and get oriented and get refocused and figure out what will help you become the next player that you can be at the next level. Because right now, I see a lost person has no idea what their NBA identity is, what they do right, and what they can offer to an NBA team. You're like an amorphous glob that could be all kinds of different things formed into, but we don't have you formed into anything at this point. It's just you're just a raw talent that has no like purpose in the NBA. What is your purpose, bro? What do you do for NBA teams that keeps you on an NBA team? That's what I'm wondering about, Jalen McDaniels. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And that's the problem. You're not a 3-point shooter. You're not a slasher scorer. You're not known for your defense. You're not known for rebounding. What are you known for, Jalen McDaniels? Look yourself in the mirror this morning and say, what am I in the NBA? So go look at yourself and say, who am I going to be? Maybe you can cheat sheet. Go look at your twin. He could show you some of the things you could be, maybe. Like, what the fuck? This is some way that was like, well, look, you have a twin brother who, or he's not a twin, or maybe he's older than you, or whatever. He's very similar to you, DNA wise. And you guys have like similar body types. And he is having a successful NBA career as a starter for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Why can't you go look at the cheat sheet, Mr. Bean? Why can't you just look over there and see what your brother's doing and say, I should copy my brother? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why can't you just copy your brother? Like, seriously, bro. What is going on here? Seriously, I don't know the mystery of Jalen McDaniels, guys. In some ways, I know I was defending him a couple days ago, but last night made me think this guy's pointless because he doesn't have any clue who the fuck he is on an NBA court. He has no fucking clue. He had chances last night to look good and do really badass things, but he has no form to him. He has no form to him. We don't know what he is. What is his player build? What the fuck is he? All right, Naka wants me to scout Bronny, which is kind of funny that he said that. You're hilarious, Gerald. All right, I'm going to go look at Bronny's Wikipedia. LeBron Ramon Bronny James Jr. is an American college basketball player. That's a stretch. And he is 19. He's from Akron, Ohio. He's 6'4", 210 pounds, USC. And yeah, okay. All right, let's watch a highlight clip of Bronny James. We're scouting Bronny today, guys, which is hilarious. Y'all, he did this just because he wants to have a laugh. I know he wants to hear me skewer him alive. All right, this is a very short clip because they don't have it. It's a full highlights. All right, hang on. All right, here we go. Junior is where is he? He's number 6. Okay, he took a little shot. All right, he took a little 3, and everybody's so happy for him. He looks undersized, first of all. He doesn't look like big enough to play even in college, first of all. Let's see. Here he is. He's coming, and he got a block. Now, the other guy kind of got the block for him before. It wasn't just a him blocking. All right, there's a throw up. This is an alley-oop. Okay, he can do a highlight fast break. All right, that's interesting. Here you go. We're coming back down the other way. And was that him dunking? Is that him there? That doesn't even look like him. Is that his own highlight? Okay, so I've seen 2 fast break dunk highlights that have nothing to do with anything fundamental. It's just a broken play and him running down the court and being able to dunk. Let's see. Okay, that was a little bit of a 3. Okay, stop and pop with the taller defender be in front of him. Here he is on the wing, and they threw it up, and he kind of bounced it up over the defender. I mean, he's got hops like his dad, obviously. He can jump, but he's definitely nowhere near like his dad. He doesn't have the same size body, obviously. And in some ways, I don't know, man. And the thing about Bronny is he's got all the PEDs and all the kind of enhancers to help his body be built up. With extra weird supplements and only like elite people like LeBron can get to. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why you're getting me to waste my time looking at this, Gerald. Seriously. In some ways, I see a highlight reel of like the best stuff that this guy did. I know he only played like 5 games or something like that. I don't think he played that much. A lot of these are transition plays where they're broken plays, and it's just kind of like circus kind of shit. It's not actually set play half court stuff that I'm seeing on this highlight. Okay, so they keep showing a couple of 3s. If he's a little bit open, he's got a decent form. If I'm being a little bit fair to him here, if he's open, he's got a decent form on his 3-point shot. But that may be the nicest thing I can say about him. He's got hops. He's undersized. He's really is only being talked about because of who his dad is. I mean, honestly. I mean, I don't know which player on the USC is the best player and what he ranks as far as that team, who is the best player. There may be guys on USC that are much more deserving of getting drafted than he is. And it's only because of who his dad is. All right, I've seen enough. I've seen enough. It is what it is. Thank you, Nako, for suggesting let's scout Bronny. I'm gonna give you a dunk just for that silliness. You got a Muggsy Bogues 14, my guy. Muggsy Bogues, just like the jersey over my head. All right, let's see. Monique is here. We fought hard. 3 stars of the game. IQ, Grady, and JFL. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Monique. Thanks for being such a great fan for the team. And yeah, it was a good fought game, an entertaining game to a degree. G saying we let a guy named Clowney beat us. Jokes. Love what I saw from IQ and Grady. Yeah, I know a Clowney. Noah Clowney. Yeah, he's actually really good. I've seen him for a couple years on the G League level, and he is a prospect coming up. That's the kind of prospect I want, Masai, a big prospect, a big like Paul Reed was for the Sixers, a big like Noah Clowney is for the Nets. In some ways, Noah Clowney is the succession plan for Nicholas Claxton. And in some ways, yeah, succession plans for your positions, depth positions, using your G League team for depth and utilizing that. You know, there's all ways we could do this way better with Luke Wynn and you guys in the front office with the Raptors. Let's get a player like Clowney. We need a big that is a project coming up. And I like Clowney too. I think he's a good player. He's played very, very well in 905 games that I've seen him play against the 905. In fact, he kicked our butts with the Long Island Nets. Yeah, he kicked our butts this year. They beat our butt all over the place, Clowney. Clowney was playing against Mohamedou and Javon already this season. He played against them, yeah. G saying JFL is definitely developing too. Like I said, these guys, their aptitude, how quickly they learn stuff, I don't want to wait around for them. I'm sick of this shit. I want that Hello Fresh. I want that shit ready and prepared. Coming to my house. I don't want to make it myself. In some ways, these guys, if they want to be in the NBA, they need to come finished products. And that's what Paul Jones said the other day. He's sick of the audacity of these young players to not come in as complete players into the league and that they want to continue their education and become something better in the league. I get that to a degree, but there has to be a good starting point where these guys are already at to get to that. Some ways they're learning fundamentals and basic shit that they should have learned when they were kids and in the NBA. And that is a fail of coaching and getting players prepared to be in the NBA at this point. That's the problem. In some ways, back in the day, yeah, you would develop guys and get them better, but they came in with a certain floor that we were already at to be able to play. And the problem is these young guys are not coming in that way at this point. And Paul Jones is exactly right. Like he's disgusted by it, and I am too. Like, why the fuck aren't these kids coming in prepared correctly at this point? Is what I'm saying. Yeah. Chris is saying, how much time does McDaniel spend with Mary Jane? Do you think he plays? I think he plays with THC patches, ketamine before and after the game. Laugh out loud. The guy looks comatose out there. He's looked more clear eyed since I made my little comment the other day. I'm paying attention. He's looked more clear eye in his entry video pictures, and on the court, he looks more aware and more in tune with things. Yeah, maybe it's just dumb stuff with the new policy about cannabis that some of these guys in the league have been experimenting with being high during games this year. And I'll bet you that has been a problem for all the teams on the down low. That some of the players are maybe like, you know what? I used to play high all the time when I was a kid, and it wasn't a big deal. And I actually feel like I play better. So they're trying to mess around and do that on the pro level. Well, you couldn't play high before until like recently. And it's not looking good. If any of our players this year were coming to the game under the influence of cannabis and trying to play while they're under cannabis, don't be doing no Keon Clark shit when you're on our team. Seriously. And, stop. Listen, I'm a big cannabis advocate. I smoke cannabis every day, but I even know that in some ways you need to be your fully best aware self when you're on the court in the NBA, because everything is a split second and a reaction. And if y'all think you can play like you did in high school and be like, yeah, it was cool, I would play high all the time. Don't be doing that shit. If any of y'all are doing it, I'm not accusing anybody for sure. I mean, I have kind of said that maybe this is what's happening with this player or this player, but in some ways I don't want to believe what I'm saying and what Chris is saying here either. Fiercely saying at Kareem, I agree with you, but I think he's going through it. Something is off. He showed great promise before, and suddenly fell off. If he puts in work in the summer, improve, all good. Okay, you're talking to Kareem. What was his last comment? So I can know who the person is. You got baby me fiercely. Don't put the name in again. Oh, you're talking about Jalen McDaniels. Okay. Yeah, this summer's so important to McDaniels' NBA career. If you don't do shit right, man, what the fuck, Jalen? Seriously, figure out who you are and go be that person. Cowboys saying, I agree 100% with Kareem. I'm worried every time McDaniel shoots the ball, get that garbage out of here. Not like a block, meaning like you shoot like garbage. Yeah. Yeah, he's frustrating because honestly, unlike JFL, he has all the talent and the size in the world as far as his body. He has a body for the NBA, but in some, it's like they're different tales. Like if he had JFL, if he had JFL's kind of baller attitude at his size, he'd be a badass. He'd be a badass in this league. It's kind of can we do a Freaky Friday switch around and like woo take the essence of JFL and his balling scoring and take it out of the body of him and put it in Jalen McDaniel's body. That is the Frankenstein's monster I want to create right now that would make these kind of frustrating players work in the right way. And then we'll take the two shitty parts, the JFL's body and Jalen's mentality and how he's developed, and send it off and wave his ass and keep one player. The body of Jalen McDaniels with the scoring and aptitude of JFL as far as like getting the basket in the hoop. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be all about that. Duke Rocks is saying, didn't see a lot of fight for rebounds last night. Main reason we lost. In some ways, we're overmatched. In some ways, I blame Malik Williams. In some ways, the other team, they have a lot of really good rebounders that do good long things, and they're smart. Claxton is he's the dominant guy in the game last night on the boards for sure. Duke, good to see you. Cowboys laughing at MSJ. Nago saying, can't wait for a healthy Raptors next season. Yeah, so many guys in street clothes that Kelly and DJ have to go sit underneath the basket with the crowd. So many guys in street clothes sitting on the bench. Gary, Scotty, Bruce, RJ, DJ, Jakob, Chris, Kelly. I mean, come on now. We just named like most of the team right there. Seriously. Smooth saying the two positives are the emerging play of IQ. He's going to be a really good one, and Grady as well. Yes. Yes, Smooth. For sure. For sure. IQ showing late game heroics that I really like to see. And Grady, sure shot stuff in volume. In volume. That's the thing. We don't want Grady. Grady could come out and be a 5-minute guy and only take like 3 shots and make all those. But if he's going to play 30 minutes, and he's going to get 20 shots. Yeah, we want to see the same percentages. We don't want to see it watered down with volume. And that's one of the things with like when you want to give somebody more of a role, you want to think about, well, are they efficient? Are they when we give them volume, are they not watering it down and it's getting worse? We want that quality to stay really high if they are getting more minutes and more shots. And Grady's showing that the quality is really high no matter the volume of him shooting. And I like that. I want to keep going like that. Yeah. Duke saying Silva on Jonte could be a permanent bad if he was gambling. Oh, Silver on Jonte. Yeah, there's an article that came out on ESPN yesterday saying that they are continuing to investigate Jonte's case and that he wants to make an example of him if he's guilty. He's going to permanently ban him from the NBA if he is incriminated for this. And he's going to make him an example. He used words like cardinal sin yesterday when talking about this. I don't like how ESPN and the media places are putting our name next to his name so much. We get it. He played for us, and that's the way to identify him. But seeing Raptors Jonte Porter in articles on ESPN pisses me off. And that's why in some ways I'm really mad at Jonte Porter, is because he has disgraced our name. He's putting our name in disgraceful articles right now just because he was on our team when he did this disgraceful shit. Now, if he's exonerated and he comes out, everything's fine. I, like everybody else, should apologize to him. But in some ways, he's disgraceful to our team right now. And I hate seeing on ESPN's article list Raptors Jonte Porter talked about in that kind of way. It really is a bad, ugly black eye towards us. And you've disgraced our team name by having your name next to the allegations that you have right now, Jonte. So screw you. You're bullshit. Yeah. Nako's saying, Silver saying gambling is the cardinal sin where there's players who beat their wives and the league is troubling. Obviously, both are bad. Well, I wish he would say that that's a cardinal sin also. No, you know what? Listen, Gerald, everything that make the decisions are made is about this. It's all about that. Adam Silver also in the same discussion is talking about how legalized gambling is the right way to do it because then we can find the people who are doing irregular things like Jonte, possibly, and we can catch them. In some ways, when it's all underground and it's illegal betting, you can't find out where it is. Well, I think you're stupid, Adam Silver. You still don't understand the social impacts of what you're doing, and it's really short sighted. I think that the college proposal to not allow prop betting on NCAA games should be brought up to the NBA also. That if they're going to not allow individual prop bets on individual players, that could help things a lot. Maybe people shouldn't be that degenerate, that they can break it down specifically on the 3-pointers of Jonte Porter and the under and over. Maybe y'all should just be gambling on the game and team instead of individuals. Because when you gamble on individuals, they solely may have responsibility for someone not making their bet. And then all of a sudden, some stupid ass violence or death threat happens. That's the problem right there. If y'all are really going to have legal gambling, maybe you need to just limit it to team gambling and not gambling on individual players because you put a bullseye on them, Adam Silver, when you do that. So listen, I'm all about compromise. If y'all really want to have your disgusting, immoral gambling, legalized gambling culture around sports now, and it's really not the sports leagues that have decided this. I mean, they're making money from it. Trust me. It's the idiots that have the sports gambling companies that forced it through legislation, and they just want to make money off poor people, honestly, is what it is. And I want to compromise. Well, stop putting prop bets on individual players. Make it, you can bet on the score, you can bet on the point spread, you can bet on the team to win. And forget about all this breakdown kind of shit about like this person's going to get this many rebounds or assists. It's the stupidest shit. The Wilson Chang, Bet Rivers bullshit part of the Raptors broadcast. Nobody gives a shit about betting on rebounds for fucking Malik Williams or some shit. We're going to see if he gets 10 rebounds, Leo. Let's see how your bet went at halftime. No, just stop making them do this stupid shit. Let them talk about basketball. And let them stop talking about prop bets and shit. When this stupid shit, they don't like it either. You can hear it in Kia Nurse and Leo Routen's voices when they go over their dumb little part where they check in at the halftime with their dumb ass little shit for Bet Rivers, that whole part. Yeah, let them talk basketball. And fucking put the betting shit in a small little corner. Stop putting it in our faces. Take that shit off the air just like cigarette ads. And fucking let the degenerates that want to legalize gamble go fucking do it on their own and stop putting in everybody else's faces too. These are the compromises I want. No more prop betting and take the advertising off TV. If people want to find it, they will find it. And you don't need to put it in everybody's goddamn face every single fucking Raptors game is what I'm saying. Is what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Infamous saying, salute, freaks. I hate to say it, but our new center is horrible. Shaking my head. I agree, Infamous. He's one of the worst. This guy is like Hafa Rougeau bad. This guy's Alex Radojevic bad. That's right. Seriously, I'm bringing up some of the worst centers in the history of the Raptors right now. Radojevic bad. Yeah. Arroyo bad. Very, very bad. Chris is saying, I never really understood any of the Dennis haters, but perhaps the money was all it is. It's a reputation that precedes him, Chris. In some ways, like people would hate Dennis because he was like Kelly, the way I hated Kelly before he came to our team. He's a player that you hate if he's not on your team. And in some ways, he didn't intersect with us in a way that pissed me off, other than that OG thing. But that wasn't even his fault. It was just OG flipped him upside down in a weird thing that happened during the bubble. That honestly, I don't have any problem with Dennis, but some people, I've said a couple of reasons why. He's outspoken, he's brash, he stands up for himself. In some ways, it's partly because he's German. In some ways, it's partly because he's not American. In some ways, it's partly because he doesn't give a shit and he gets in people's faces and he says what he wants to say and he means what he's going to say. In some ways, he's a strong personality, but he's a good personality. He's a professional personality. He's a hardworking personality. He's all kinds of different great things. And some people don't like him partly because of like dumb shit that happened in the history of the NBA, as far as like the thing that happened with him and his LA Lakers contract. There's all kinds of weird reasons why people don't like Dennis, and I don't totally get it. We speculated things as far as like race and skin color. He's a very, very dark skinned man. And sometimes people will be more racist to people that are darker. And I know that I hate saying that, but in some cases, with studies, this has been proven. So, I mean, there's all kinds of different reasons why people don't like Dennis. He's brash, he's outspoken, and he's German. In some ways, he's not American, and people don't like foreigners. Foreigners, that's part of it too. And a lot of the sheep in this city that didn't like him, they're only piling on because maybe some of them are half late fans of other teams, and they hated him from before. That's part of it there. If it was saying Temple messed up that last play, quickly gave him a perfect pass. Yeah, he's not going to be totally perfect all the time. And he did not convert. And that is too bad. And that was part of what I was trying to say. You can't wait for the foul. You're not going to get it, Garrett. You have to convert. You have to make sure you make it. I agree with this. Quickly set him up real nice. Real nice. Tom Duke saying, good morning. Let's grow. That's right. Let's grow. Mo's saying Dylan Brooks and Jamal Murray with clutch, shaking my head. Yeah, and that's not their fault. It's not their fault. Mike George, a Canadian agent, has been consolidated into Clutch Group. And by default, Dylan Brooks and Jamal Murray are now Clutch clients because their agent that they were under already has decided to join Rich Paul's group. Ugh, gross. Well, it's two Canadian guys on Team Canada. At least it's not any of our Raptors. But yeah, that's sad. It is what it is. Who knows? Maybe Dylan's not totally happy about it. Who knows? Either way, yeah, they got consolidated in. It's kind of like what happened with OG when Omar went to them. And he was kind of like, in some ways, I like you, Omar. I was happier when you were in Octagon, but now I'm going to go to CAA. And yeah, I don't really want to be in Clutch. So I don't know. In some ways, I'm glad that these are the guys that are just on Canada and they're not on the Raptors. And yeah, it is what it is. Rich Paul's trying to build an empire. He's branching out in all kinds of different weird ways these days. He's getting more into baseball representation also. And he has other plans for other weird things that he wants to do, especially when LeBron retires. Watch. They're going to do all kinds of weird shit, that company. Watch. Dana's saying, good morning, everyone. Let's do some big things in the offseason. Let's come back stronger. Yeah, I like that, Dana, for sure. Let's go. Nako's saying, I'd rather Dennis than Bruce. I've seen enough of Williams. Yes. And then that's a crazy thing. Dennis makes less than Bruce Brown, and he'd be much more helpful in certain ways. It is what it is. We're all positioned in a certain way for certain things for the summer. And cutting Otto, Thad, Dennis, and some of those other players that we cut this year, well, it's supposed to help us for the summer because Bruce Brown, we can cut him easy this summer. It's not going to be a big deal. The books are wide open. There's only a few players that are on the books for next year, and they're the right players, the core players that we value. Cowboy saying, I can't wait for next year. Let's grow. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Smooth saying, the problem with Dennis was he could never be Fred VanVleet. He is what he is, a solid vet, more suited to a backup role. He did his job. It's just not enough of what was needed on the Raptors. See, I disagree with this. Listen, it's funny how everybody that's a Fred stan is coming back with receipts for Fred haters from last year. Fred VanVleet propaganda is in its heyday because the Rockets fans have seen the glory and the greatness of Fred VanVleet, and they're circling back and telling everybody in Raptors Nation that hated Fred so much last year, you're idiots. And they were idiots. I was with you the whole time, Fred VanVleet propaganda. And all you Fred haters, fuck you. You stupid ass shit and what you said last year. Because the people that stood with Fred, we were right the whole time. All you dumbasses that said he was some sort of little guy chucking shots and getting mad at him for his field goal percentage, y'all just don't understand basketball. You don't understand what it takes to win, and that Fred VanVleet's a winner. And in some ways, his effect being on the Rockets was very, very well felt. And we didn't appreciate him enough. Some of the stupid ass fans in our franchise team last year, y'all should have been respecting Fred better as a GOAT and the player who he actually is. It pisses me off to this day, honestly. And I'm glad that Rockets fans in general are appreciating him better than some of the Raptors fans did last year. You dumbasses. Anybody who's anti-Fred last year, fuck you, personally, from me. Yeah, you assholes. You need to respect our legends and the greatest undrafted player in the history of the NBA. Yeah, he ain't going to get beat by Bronny. Watch. If Bronny ain't going to get drafted, he ain't going to beat Fred VanVleet's career path. No, he won't. No, Bronny James will not. Dennis is a starting point guard in the NBA. I will stand on this hill and I will fight anybody who says he should be not starting and is on the bench. Smooth. So come on. Come on. I'm serious. Dennis is a starter in the NBA. And everybody who thinks he's not, and they try and sully him and push him, no, he's not a starter. He is a very good starter. And he could start 82 games for my team any year. Seriously. If he wanted to be the starting point guard for the Raptors, which he was at the beginning of the year, I was totally fine with it. It was just other people that were all pissed off about him starting. They were stupid. Because honestly, he is a starter. He started for Germany and won the World Cup, and he's the MVP. Why the fuck can't he start for the Raptors? So I've always been against people that always just look at this. Dennis Schroder is a backup point guard. No, he's not. He's a starter. He can start. The great thing is he's versatile enough to be either, and his ego is nice enough to be either. That's the difference. In fact, I value that. He's a perfectly capable starting point guard in this league. But if he can't, if there's a better guy on the team like Quickly, he doesn't mind being the second guy. No ego. What is not to like about that situation with him? Seriously. What is not to like about that? Seriously. Tom saying Dennis was one bright spot for the season, in my opinion. For whose season? Our season or theirs? Tommy. Yeah, he's a bright spot for both people's seasons. In some ways, I thought he was great what he did for us in the beginning of the season. In some ways, he helped us win games at the beginning of the season. And people, in some ways, we need to respect that. Chris is saying this is not a joke, but it could be that McDaniels has a lot of women in his life. Basketball is not the thing. He looks so relaxed. What could explain it? Yeah, I'm not willing to speculate into that kind of area of things. And I know you brought up Bruce Brown and the allegations around him and, whatever. There's a whole aspect of NBA life that is not interesting to me to talk about on this channel because it's none of my business. And I talk about a lot of things and I say a lot of out of pocket stuff, but I'm not going to speculate on women in NBA players' lives or things like that and that being a problem. That's their own damn life. I don't need to know anything about it. That is their private time and their personal stuff. And in some ways, maybe some content makers would be really interested in getting all juicy, gossipy, like Hollywood, Access Hollywood or some bullshit, but not me. Not me. I have no interest in this at all whatsoever. If it has nothing to do with actual performance on the court, like when I speculate about cannabis, that has something to do with the court. Now, you're saying this could have something to do with it? Nah. Historically, look, there's two ways to look at it. Either some athletes in the past will abstain on purpose to have energy in their body and they will not have sex. And in some ways, they get good results from that. And then there's others that just don't care. And some may have a lot of sex and they actually find that they actually get in the flow better because they're looser and more relaxed. So, I mean, this isn't a determining factor of good or bad. It depends on the individual. And to be honest, it's none of my business on any individual on their stance on this. So, but it's an interesting idea to think about. But honestly, don't think about it too much alone in the bathroom. That's what I'm saying. Nako's saying, and yeah, Dennis was not the quality Fred VanVleet was, who was rather polarizing. What? Dennis was not the quality Fred was. I will disagree. There's similar kind of steadiness. Seriously, Dennis is very steady. Freddie's very steady. These guys can run your team and their styles, and they're just different styles, but they have the same effect. They can be floor captains and generals that absolutely have control of the game better than guys like that are younger that don't know what they're doing yet. Dennis and Fred know the ebbs and flows of the game and the little tricks as point guards on how to control the tempo of the game. So I don't agree with this. They just have different flavors, but Dennis is just as effective as Fred as being a floor general and running the team and keeping things organized. David saying, Chris, too much weed. That's more likely, probably. Fiercely saying nothing too tough for Smooth. Yeah, that was a good job getting the card a la Abdel Nabi, but it was actually not him that got it. Let's see. Isaiah Thomas, wrong team. Let's see. Robert Parrish, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, this is not the 90s. This is the 90s. This guy's from the 90s. That is the late 90s, I would say. Late 90s. Infamous is saying, I don't understand how you can defend Jalen but crap on JFL when technically JFL is an NBA rookie. Jalen's been in the league for a while. Jalen just doesn't have the drive. Well, have I said anything since this comment that changes your opinion? How am I defending Jalen today? How am I defending him? All I'm doing is I'm defending our front office for making the decision to sign him for 2 years and knowing that he's going to be around next year. Yeah, I have to. I don't want to totally crap on him. My plea today for Jalen is to get his life figured out and figure out the NBA player he wants to be and go for it. That's what I want. That's what I want him to do this summer. And I'm pleading with him because in some ways I want Masai to look good for getting him in the first place. And in some ways, him being crappy is not good for us in a couple of different ways. So we need him to grow up and get better. And you're right. I'm crapping on all of them right now. I'm crapping on all of them. And really, the problem with JFL is really that he just does not make sense as an NBA player in general, in any kind of way. He really doesn't. If he got to be more of a point guard, he'd make more sense. Let's just put it that way. Stargate, great job, man. Great job getting that classic card. Very impressed to see him get the card today. Very impressed. All right, let me see. Where am I with the chat? I jumped ahead real quick. I'm right here. Okay, good work, Stargate. That's what Tom said. Really, it is 90s. Yeah, it is. Good job. Yeah, that's a good one. Kareem saying, you guys make me feel like I'm not a fan of the NBA with this classic card. Laugh out loud. Well, we're just finding out who the people that really know the NBA are. I mean, you can see his face kind of up close. That's Ala Abdel Nabi. He's annoying. If you listen to him do the Sixers games, he's calling Joel Embiid JoJo all the time. Good shot, JoJo. JoJo. Good job, JoJo. It's like when the way they call Joel on the Sixers broadcast sounds like they're calling a dog. Come here, JoJo. Come on, JoJo. Good job, JoJo. I've always thought that. It's kind of crazy. Let's see. Stargate saying, you know me, Lex. Laugh out loud. I used to watch a lot of NCAA back in the day. I remember Ala from Duke. There you go. That's true. This guy's more famous from his college. He wasn't a very good NBA player. He didn't stick around, and he's definitely a good Duke player. And that's it. His strength is college, and that's why he knew he was. College is the sport of Stargate, knowing his knowledge. Okay, so we know the different areas. So if he's a more well-known college player than an NBA player, he's going to get it maybe. Let's see. Fiercely saying, Dennis showed us why he was the world MVP. We should have kept him, but I believe he's happier starting, not coming off the bench. And the only way to keep IQ was to secure a starting spot. I think that there's a couple things. I think that Dennis is tough to take in some ways. In some ways, he really had a crucial role in the beginning of Darko's coaching because he's kind of a shit disturber. He's a person who'll get in your face. And if you're not doing things right, he will tell you. In some ways, he may have rubbed some of the people the wrong way, and that's what he does. He's done it on Brooklyn so far. He's not rubbing people the wrong way, but Kevin Ollie saying before the game that Dennis came in right away and was a leader right away, telling people how to play and how to be. Some people don't like that kind of energy when it comes in all of a sudden. Some people don't want to respect somebody who's a vet in the league before them if they don't know him that well. And Dennis will come in and he doesn't give a shit who you are. He told his coach to keep his hands off him, and German coach. He will tell you what you fucking need to do because he's not wasting his time with his life. And if you're not getting your act together on what you're supposed to be doing as an NBA player, he will tell you. And that may step on feet wrong with people. I have a feeling that when he came in, he may have rubbed some of our Raptors the wrong way. Now, they've worked it out and talked about it, and they're cool. But in some ways, they don't like him being around because he's a little pushy and telling people how to do things. He may have been a bit like Fred last year. And that's why people that are sensitive to people telling people what to do, some people don't like people telling Scotty what to do. Well, they go after people like Fred, Thaddeus, and Dennis. And it's stupid, honestly. All three of those guys helped Scotty become a better vet while they were with him. All three of them, whether it's Thaddeus telling him something at halftime and everybody's like, Thaddeus, you shouldn't tell Scotty what to do. Bullshit. Thaddeus is the best person to tell Scotty what to do. If Dennis came in and he got in Scotty's face for a second and said, you could do this and do this. You need to be on the team for everybody and all this kind of stuff. And Scotty's like, and maybe behind the scenes, he came up to Messiah. He's like, Dennis is great and everything. I like him, but honestly, I don't really mesh with him in certain ways. And then boom, all of a sudden, Mobby and Messiah are like, you know what? We'll trade him at the trade deadline, Scotty. Don't worry. There's all kinds of certain ways that this could have worked out. Dennis is a strong personality. He's healthy for a team, but in some ways, he's like me. He's going to tell people stuff that they don't want to fucking hear. And that may be a problem. And he could piss somebody off by saying it to the wrong person. He don't give a fuck. He's going to say it to whoever he's going to say it to. And that's that's the issue right there, Fiercely. I'll bet you that's what it is. He's a strong personality. Now, if he's on the Lakers with LeBron and LeBron has the same mentality as him and LeBron approves of him being that kind of guy on his team, everybody has to shut up and listen to Dennis. and they will follow him because LeBron ordained it as the king. So that in some ways, if King Scotty didn't like Dennis Schroder run around in his kingdom, well, he can exile him, is what I'm going to say right there. In some ways, I know Scotty and Dennis are cool. They've shown like a connection and a friendship, and it's fine. But also at the same time, just because you like somebody and you're cool with them doesn't mean you want to be teammates with them for certain reasons. I like that Dennis was like that he was accountable, that he was quality control. In some ways, he would tell his teammates, you didn't do this right and do this right. Maybe he didn't have the right attitude, approach. Maybe he didn't have the right approach. And maybe he said something to somebody and rubbed somebody the wrong way. I mean, I can see that. You see how abrasive he can be, how quick he is to get in your face. So, I mean, I can see that's exactly what it is right there. I mean, if we could have had him as our backup point guard still right now, we'd be in better shape for sure. We wouldn't have lost so much, and we probably wouldn't have a good chance to protect our pick right now. So there's a lot of what could, should. Some of it's crafting to lose. A lot of what's been happening in the last part of the season is crafting to lose, whether it's that injury report for last night, whether it's whatever moves that we made at trade deadline. Saying goodbye to Siakam and Anunoby. Yeah, in some ways, crafting to lose to keep our San Antonio protected pick. Infamous is saying, so Dennis will help us win. That's the part of the problem. Infamous is saying, rumor was Bobby Masai was in the building. Were they scouting Claxton? I can only hope. I think they're just traveling with the team. It's the end of the season. In some ways, they want to keep up the tabs on things. They're probably scouting our own guys more. You know, they're looking at Malik Williams and really thinking about it. I think that it's already decided. Come on, guys. If the aptitude to learn quickly is not there, the NBA moves so fast, adjustments. And if guys don't learn quickly, if they can't get shit down fast, I don't want to wait around for them. In some ways, this is a race, and we got to have people that are fleet-footed up here with taking in information, adjusting, and learning things quickly. And in some ways, if you're not doing that, I don't want you on my team. In some ways, I want an intelligent team, a team that's quick on its feet and can make adjustments fast. And if you're dragging us down because you're not able to do that, it is what it is. It is what it is. Chris is saying it infamous. The GFL diss makes no sense. Very poor basketball take. 12 points off the bench, rather good. Blake Murphy, Javon Shepard, Alvin Williams, and others all say he has it to be the third guard. Yeah, but I don't understand that position. I really don't understand it. Like, seriously. I mean, if you want to have a little hooper guy on the team, okay. But in some ways, once again, I'm going to stand on this hill. That's not a championship piece. In some ways, he's a logical fallacy of who he is and his identity is in the NBA. It's just kind of like, all right, here's a player that I'll bring up from the past, Corliss Williamson. Corliss Williamson was a forward. Now, he was a fantastic scorer in college in Arkansas. And he was a great college player. But in some ways, he never really reached his potential in the NBA. And the reason why is because he had a power forward's game, but he had a small forward's body. And he could never actually learn the small forward stuff to be light enough and run around, but he was undersized. He wasn't tall enough to be a true four. And that hurt his NBA career. There's all kinds of players that come into the NBA that don't fit the right type. And there's guys that didn't do jack shit in college, but they fit the NBA because the type's different. In some ways, just because you're something somewhere else doesn't mean you're something in the NBA. And I'm just saying the player build, the player type of JFL is annoying because honestly, he needed that dimension of point guard to his game. And he's unfinished product without it. And honestly, I'm not wanting to complete the job with him here. In some ways, some people say, oh, we're going to be developing coming up. In some ways, I don't see the fruit at the end of the tree being worth it to invest the time, the money, and the energy to get what you will get at the other end. You guys see something I don't see? No. He's going to be undersized no matter what. And honestly, if he's not able to pass to people or naturally or do a very good job right now, why are we waiting around for him is what I'm saying. Why are we waiting around for him? I don't want to wait around for him. I really don't. These guys are being nice. They're just saying nice things about him, saying, yeah, he could be in the league. Some ways you don't want to crush people's dreams in some ways. If he wants to be in the league, he should go play for the Hornets is what I'm saying. He doesn't need to play for my team. David's saying, I hope so. I love Claxton. Yeah, who knows? I don't think they were scouting the Nets specifically. I think they were scouting our guys ourselves, if they are at all. They may be just around the team just to finish off the season and be around. I mean, they travel with the team all the time. This is not abnormal for Bobby and Masai to be with the team on the road. Let's see. Stargate saying, I don't understand this weird obsession with our fans have with JFL. It's like it's shifted the obsession from Malachi to him. Weird. They had an obsession with Malachi. I don't even remember that. I mean, listen, he was impressive at 905 in some of the ways he scores. He's a street baller. In some ways, his game is like, I don't know. It's, you know what it is? It's symptomatic of how people overvalue scoring. It really is. Because honestly, that's his best trait. He's a scorer. And in some ways, all the young fans only care about scoring and points. They don't care about any of the other stuff that has to do with things. Now, I'm going to say something nice about JFL right now. I've underrated his defensive ability. That's true. Chris has even said to me in the recent weeks, Lex, you're not looking at him on defense and what he's doing. You're right. In some ways, I need to give him more credit for some of the really good defensive stuff that he's doing, whether he's guarding people on the ball, even like his aptitude about spacing and kind of jumping in the passing lanes is very good. So I will give him that dimension. That's nice. Now that may be a niche that could get him more in the NBA. I'm going to tell you right now, just being a baller, a street baller and scorer does not keep you in the NBA. If he's a defensive stopper as a guard, that will keep him in the NBA. If he is a good passer and he can get some people involved around him, that'll keep him in the NBA. But being exactly what he is right now will not keep him in the NBA for very long. Let's just put it that way. In some ways, if you guys want to learn things from Thad Young and Garrett Temple and them sitting on the bench, maybe you should need to talk to them and say, how did you stay in the league for so long without being like a very good player in certain ways? Well, I was really good at certain things. I'm a good pro. I show up every day. I add on things, and I'm just there and I'm ready all the time. And these are the kind of things they can learn. That Mark J. Spears article on ESPN interviewing Garrett Temple and Draymond Green and Corey Joseph and all them. I'm telling you, in some ways, JFL needs to adjust his game to fit the NBA more, because if he doesn't, he's not going to be having a long career, is what I'm going to say. Let's see. Kareem saying, when Oshai bodied Dennis, the camera panned over to the Raptors bench. They were overly excited. No love lost with Dennis. Seems like he rubbed the organization the wrong way, obviously. I think that in some ways it's this. It's actually not that. They're all friends and they're fine. It's just that Dennis is a mad shit talker. Like on the court, he's talking trash the whole time. And that's part of the reason why he has weird acrimonious relationships and a reputation that precedes him. He's saying shit because you see him pointing and doing the freeze. He'll do stuff like he laughed at IQ right at the end of the game when he scored on him and won the game. He pointed and laughed. That's one of his moves. So he's trolling out there. And in some ways, when there's smack talk between Schroder and Quickly, there's a back and forth. And well, the bench is in on it. They can see it all. And they're all about like being the peanut gallery for Quickly against Dennis in this thing. I don't think that, listen, he's totally good with Darko, obviously. They're best friends and they're fine. And he didn't have nothing wrong with the coach. If he rubbed some of the players wrong, maybe, yeah. But in some ways also, listen, they respect him also in the same token. Now, in some ways that maybe seemed like they were being disrespectful towards Dennis last night, but that's part of this whole new NBA where people are going too small to people and they're doing stuff like freeze and skip Lee and stuff like that. There's a lot of showing up people. And in some ways, that's a symptom of it. And it's because of smack talking back and forth. And that's what that was. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, yeah, that would be great. That mask was bugging me. He should have got a tech for throwing it in celebration. Okay, you're obviously talking about Claxton. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Rapid Free crew. We were supposed to lose just as long as we play hard at first. Our young players get live practice in these games. Yeah, I don't know if we were supposed to lose. I would like to practice winning a close game with this crew, this young crew. That would have been very fruitful for Grady. Emmanuel showing some skills, closing it out and winning. But alas, once again, the 48 minutes all matter. Everything matters. And all the mistakes throughout the game add up to the end result. And if you don't play well in the first quarter in certain ways, you don't play well on the rebounds, you let Claxton do this, you have some turnovers or mistakes, it all adds up to the end. And if you don't play good enough, you don't end up on the winning side. So every mistake that people like Malik Williams or any of those other guys made added up to us losing in the end. And that's what I'm saying. You clean up some of the shit that you did so poorly throughout the meat of the game, and maybe things aren't so close at the end, and you're losing to Dennis Schroder right at the end. So that's part of it right there. I wanted them to practice winning a close game last night. In some ways, I'm upset that they lost it right at the end. Most saying, to me, there's a huge amount of relief, excitement, and just lightness we are seeing around the team right now. Bobby Webster talking about the change of direction the Raptors had this season. Yeah, this was on the broadcast the other day. They showed a little interview with him. They showed an interview with Darko last night, kind of in the same vein, looking ahead and thinking about what's coming up. I think it's very interesting that Bobby's words are a lightness around the team. I think this is right. Like seriously, there was some weird heavy shit around the team in the last year of Nick Nurse, and I know it emanated from him, but not just him. Also, the waiting for the other shoe to drop as far as departures and other people leaving that probably already knew they were going to leave for whatever reason. Maybe it's because of discussions with Bobby and Masai about extensions not going so well. Maybe it's whatever. But there was definitely a weird block or weird energy on our team while Siakam, Anunoby, and Van Vliet were around in that last part. And really, with them gone, and now that there's been a little bit of injuries, they really are in a very lighter place, very kind of feeling better. It's true. There was something weird going on, and I don't totally get it. I hate to think that there was any kind of Vince Carter quitting on the team by anybody. In some ways, they've made it very clear about Anunoby and Siakam when they left that they were very professional the whole time they were on our team. In some ways, I don't want to doubt it, and I don't want to believe anything else. But in some ways, also, I worry about their energy being kind of already out to lunch and out of the team, and that was part of the reason why it was so heavy and weird. Is these guys knew they were going to leave at some point, and they was just waiting for it to happen, and it's annoying. I like the Bobby Webster interview. And I think that he very much describes a very positive, good environment that the Raptors are currently in right now. And that's the thing that matters at this point, right now. It doesn't matter at the beginning of the season or where we were with Nick last year. David's saying, yeah, Tom, I was really surprised he didn't get a tech for that. Curry got one for throwing his mouth guard. That was a dumb thing to do. Yeah, he probably should have gotten a tech in that moment. He probably should have. It seemed like Matt was calling it out to get them to get a tech. He threw his mask. And I don't know. In some ways, who was the refs again last night? It was Carl Lane and Eric Dalen and Brandon Schwab. Yeah, they were okay. Carl Lane is fun. In some ways, there was a call where Schwab got the ball possession wrong, and Carl Lane came right over to him and said, no, it's this way. It's the Raptors' possession. Because Brandon Schwab was going to screw us over. But Carl Lane had the right view of the play, and he came right over. The refs weren't really an issue last night. I mean, the whistle was a little weird. They did get more free throws than us. But for the most part, I felt like they were pretty fair. There was a couple of challenges, a couple of little weird things. I thought they dealt with the goaltending and the blocks very well. And I was very glad to see that they did change the score later when they did make a mistake on one of the calls, and they came back and took points away from the Nets. And when they announced that over the loudspeaker, the Brooklyn fans were not happy. I like that. That was funny. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Cowboy saying, true, Dukes. Batman should never reveal himself. All right, Cowboy. You're funny. Bruce Wayne, we knew he's not Bruce Wayne. That's Nicholas Claxton. Come on now. So Cowboy's getting a dunk. He is at 45. You got the Delano Rexdale bus, my guy. 45. There you go. Let's see. Isaac saying, I thought Tom Duke was Batman. Maybe. He's got his mask on. It's a scuba mask. Let's see. Wrong mask. Whoops. Randolph saying, blessings to all you amazing Raptor freaks. It was a good game. Proud of our team. Winners are not only in the final score, but in the efforts, growth, and progress of the team and its players. There you go. I like that, Randolph. The progress of Grady. The progress of IQ. Amazing. Awesome. I love it. Fiercely saying, honestly, Brooklyn showed me signs of wizard-like style of play. Something is off with their team. And I reiterate, Mikal Bridges is a number one option, but their problem, not ours. Well, Fiercely, the Nets have been mismanaged just like the Wizards for a few years. Very, very poorly mismanaged. Fool's gold of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. Well, they're feeling the after effects of that. And the crazy thing is they've screwed up their salary cap. They screwed up their trade. Their first. They don't have a first round pick this year because of all that malarkey with those big three. That experiment that absolutely failed. So they're in a bad place because of those jackasses, those guys that were playing for them a couple years ago. So, yeah, it makes sense why they are the way they are. And in some ways, they don't have a clear path to getting better because they've kind of mortgaged their future for having those three guys, and now those guys aren't even there. So yeah, their team is messed up, very messed up, and I don't envy them. I will say this: we need to be above them in the standings next year. I will take being the last team in the Atlantic Division only for this year. We have to at least be better than Brooklyn next year. If we're not better than Brooklyn next year, something's very, very wrong. I'd like to be better than most of the Atlantic Division, but we for damn sure got to be better than Nets next year because they don't have a real route to get better right now. Let's see. Chris is saying, was Malik Williams ever even a hope? I wouldn't spend much mind on that guy. He got to play a few NBA games. Good for him. Dream realized. It's not like he wasn't trying. He just isn't good enough. Well, that's what I'm saying. This is your chance, Eminem. This is like, lose yourself. Come on, man. Get out there. Don't blow. Get mom spaghetti, motherfucker. Get out there and do it, bro. Seriously. And if this is the culmination of where you've gotten yourself to as a player and prepared yourself, well, you're not good enough to be in the NBA. That's what I'm saying. You get your break. It's not like come in, get in the door, and we need to help you even more to get better. Fuck that shit. Come in as a finished product and show that you belong in the NBA. When you show that you don't belong in the NBA, well, you don't belong in the NBA. I'm sorry, bro. You got your dream. You played some NBA games. You started some NBA games. You got to play against Rudy Gobert. But yeah, listen, I don't see the promise in this, Bobby and Messiah. Darko's being nice in the interview when he says, yeah, we're going to check him out for a little bit longer. Yeah, for 2 more days. And he's fucking gone. Trust me. He's gone. He's not coming back next year. Come on, guys. If they bring him back and they don't bring back Jahmi'us Ramsey, I'm going to be pissed. Jahmi'us Ramsey playing in the finals of the G League right now. He got his team all the way to the finals, and he is not starting, and he is scoring like 20 off the bench for the Oklahoma City Blue. Yeah, they lost the first game of the G League finals, but they're currently playing it right now. And I think they have a game today or something like that. So, yeah, Jahmi'us Ramsey is much the best prospect we've seen out of all these guys. And as far as the 10-day contracts, the best prospect out of all of them was Jahmi'us Ramsey. And that is the person we need to try and invest in this summer. That's what I'm saying right now. Randolph saying, Lex, we are counting our blessings, bro. Grizzlies are trying to deny us the pick by losing. I say lose the next game and lock our chances to pick. Yeah, that's going to happen, and it's been calculated. They're not losing on purpose. It's just that they're losing. I mean, if they were losing on purpose, they wouldn't have won some of the games that they won recently that helped us be able to win some more games ourselves. If we end up the season with 25 wins this year, so be it. So be it. I would like to get one of the last 2 games against Miami, and we can, because no matter what, Randolph, the Grizzlies have 27 wins already. We have 25. As long as we don't go over their number or tie it, we're fine. So if we split the games this weekend in Miami, go 50-50, which is what I would like to do, because that shows a sign that you're competitive with the team that's still competing. And usually teams should not sweep 2-game series like that. There should be a 1-1. I'll be very happy because we can afford to win 26. They can't backtrack and go back to 26. So as long as we stay below 27, we're fine. And like we said, either one can happen. Either they win a game or we lose a game, and we're ensconced permanently in that 6th worst position, no matter what. In fact, the projection on the Basketball Reference is saying right now we're 98.4% chance to finish 6th worst in the NBA right now. It's tightened up real tight. We can't be 5th at this point. We have a 1.6% chance of finishing 7th and flipping with Memphis at this point. There's a less than 2% chance that we will move from our position right now. So it's not going to happen. And once again, the chances of us keeping our pick are 45.9%, no matter what. That's not going to change. That's just the draft lottery chances of us being in the top 6. 45 and we're going to have a less than 50% chance to keep our pick no matter what. That's just how it is right there. Yeah, Fiercely saying my daughter could do the putbacks better than Williams. Aren't you supposed to have an advantage when you're tall? Being nice is cute, but the wins are what we're looking for. There's a couple of things with Malik Williams that I don't like. He's tethered to the ground. In some ways, he's not leaving the ground. In some ways, that's okay for Kelly Olynyk, a very smart Canadian guy who's been in the league for a long time and has savvy ways of doing things. But if somebody has no skills, savvy-wise, and you don't leave the ground, then I don't want you on our team. If you are a big and you can't jump up and dunk the ball on people, I don't want you on my team. Like, you have big shoulders. You can box people out. Yeah, okay. That's great. That's a very rudimentary, fundamental, big thing to be able to do. If you got the basics down of that kind of stuff, that's great. But if you don't have any kind of offensive skill like developed in any kind of way, and you're missing 2 free throws in a row, get the fuck off my team, bro. Seriously, those were the most important free throws of your life if you're trying to make the NBA. And you get up there and you miss one, okay, I can kind of okay that. But when you miss the second one right afterwards, nah, you're not serious about being the NBA, because free throws are free throws. And if you can't even get down the basics of like that kind of shit, and you're not gonna make those reliably for us, get the fuck off my team. Seriously, get the fuck off my team. Yeah, yeah. And Fiercely saying that Fiercely Salcedo Jr. would make these bunnies better than Malik Williams next to the basket. And I'll bet she's only like 5 feet tall. Seriously, she's not that tall, I'll bet. David's saying, haha, Chris, your retracted comment was funny. He took a comment back that was funny. Let's see. Cool Cat saying, Lex, it all comes down to work ethics. No excuses. If Pascal started organized ball at 18 and reached this level, Scotty became a 3-point bucket. I don't want to hear excuses from anyone. Boom goes the dynamite. I'm with Cool Cat on this one. I'm going to give her a 3-pointer. Exactly. They sound like excuses to me. You got Charles Oakley, 34. There you go, Cool Cat. No, in some ways, it's like, look at Scotty's development. What did he decided last summer? He said, man, I'm not good enough conditioning wise to keep up with the NBA defensively. So I'm going to work extra hard this summer. Boom. He came back and he jumped his game up into a crazy new level. Jalen McDaniels, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Is what I'm going to say at this point. What the fuck are you doing with your life? Don't waste it. You've got an opportunity here. If you made your millions, you're happy. You know, you got women, you got your weed, you're fine. Okay, then live that life. You're never going to get any further. And you may not be in the league for much longer, is what I'm going to say right there. That's right, work ethic. And the number one fan of Pascal Siakam knows about work ethic and how much it'll take you somewhere in the league. And that's why these guys need to be more like Siakam. They really do. Chris is saying that David, yep, I'm still have to ask if Jillian could come back. Any chance? She's not banned from here. She can come in here. She's staying out of here out of respect for me, I'm pretty sure. Because she heard me say that, like, you're kind of being disruptive to my stream. And in some ways, she can't be but herself. I know that's what it is. And it's not that she's trying to mess up my stream. She's just got a personality that doesn't really is not conducive to the chat. So she's fine with me. I interact with her on our Facebook chat all the time, Chris. She came in and asked me a question about whether Grady was going to be available for the game. And I answered her. So we go back and forth. We're cool. I talked to her in the Raptors Tonight stream too. It's just that she's not frequenting the stream anymore. Partly because in some ways, I think she's respecting my request to not screw up my stream. And she's not banned. She's perfectly welcome to come in and say hi anytime she wants to. And honestly, I really love Jill. Jill's a great Raptors fan who has a really strong, positive passion for this team. It's just in some ways, like I said, her personality and mine don't totally jive. And I was getting on her about being disruptive to my chat. And that's why she's kind of staying away at this point. Now, I know you and I have had our issues at times. It's a similar kind of thing, but I very much do value your counterpoints and stuff like that. And I do value Jill too. I love interacting with her on that. And in some ways, she can be exactly who she is in the Facebook chat and chat with everybody and do everything there. And it's not a big deal at all. But in here, we're on a time crunch. And in some ways, these are the cue cards for the show. And in some ways, she's not conducive for that with her style of how she likes to comment. So, yeah, she's totally welcome here. She's not been booted. And she is still in the Raptor Freak family Facebook chat and interacting with us there. She also interacts with us very heavily in the Raptors Tonight chat, too. Jill, I love you if you are watching me, because she could be like a lot of the people that are watching me still, but they're just not commenting like Tom did for a long time. So just so you know. Let's see. Jill did not get booted, guys. Jill did not get booted. We don't have to free her. Like I said, Jill is a great Raptors fan, and I always have love and respect for that, for anybody who has their heart with the team in the right way. And I know she does. She's not a toxic fan. She's a fantastic, passionate fan that really loves this team. And I love her enthusiasm about it. There's a lot of things I love about Jill. It's just there's some things in the chat that just don't jive right. Let's just put it that way. Cowboy saying Jillian jumping in. Lex is in great mood. Let's go. Yeah, if Jill's here, she wants to say something and come in and talk to us. I'm not banned her. In some ways, I'm sad she hasn't been coming by still, but in some ways, I also understand why. Is because in some ways I've said things like, yeah, we don't get along very well. Let's see. Chris is saying, Lex, let's set this straight. JFL practiced being a shooting guard, but he's only 6'3", so he was asked to transition to point guard by the Raptors. It's not that he didn't put the work in to get to the NBA. Terrible take. All right, let me suss this out and explain, because I don't think you're looking at it from the same thing that I'm looking at in this key point. All right, practice being a shooting guard. Yeah, why did he do that? Why did he grow up trying to become a shooting guard? Why didn't he listen? All right, Gary Trent Jr. He's a shooting guard now. In fact, he barely passes any kind of which way, but he is a trained point guard. His father trained him as a point guard when he's young, because his dad, being a former pro, understood that we can't depend on what height Gary's going to be. Gary could be whatever height. We don't know if he'll be the same height as me, the Shaq of the Mac. So we need to give him guard skills, because this is just a smart way of developing any young basketball player. You need to be a point guard first, because you don't know if you're going to be 7 foot. You could be 6'1". You could be 5'7", like Marquise. So you need to go in and learn the passing and being a point guard kind of skills first. And in some ways, JFL, he has no skills in that area, and it's so baffling to me that someone like him, in some ways, that's why I say it's arrogant. Because in some ways, look, every young player, even if they're like LeBron James, LeBron learned how to play point guard first. It's ridiculous to me that is a hole in his game at this point to get to this level. Seriously, it doesn't make any sense to me. Absolutely doesn't make any sense to me. Why do we have to ask him to transition to being a point guard at this point in his career? Why didn't he do this shit at DePaul? Why didn't he do this shit in high school? Why didn't he play more like a point guard in those levels so that he'd be more better prepared in the NBA as a 6'3" guy who the point guard position, that is your size? It's just a waste. In some ways, you want him to play shooting guard. Well, he's a defensive liability for us. If he plays point guard, he isn't. And that's the big part of it right there. Yeah, it's not that he didn't put in the work. He didn't put the proper work in. He didn't think about things smart. It's like, okay, you're going to go to school and you want to become a doctor. Why are you taking lawyer school? Why are you in lawyer classes? You want to be in the NBA. You want to be a point guard? Well, you got to be a point guard. Why are you to not do the point guard things ahead of time? Your body is not good enough to be a shooting guard. You're not big enough to be a shooting guard. I'm sorry. What, you want to be a center? No, you're 6'3". You're not a center. You're a point guard. That's a point guard's height in the NBA. I mean, isn't this common sense? Does this make any sense what I'm saying right here? It's not about him as a player, of whether he's good or not. It's about, does he fit an NBA role on an NBA team in an NBA way? That's what it is right there. David's saying JFL seems to be doing okay. We will see how next season goes. I'm sure he's here for that. Well, yeah, he's going to be in training camp. He'll be in training camp for sure. And Darko did say he will be at Summer League for us, playing for the Raptors in Summer League in Vegas. These are opportunities. Show something different. Show something valuable to the Raptors, JFL. In some ways, what you do is not valuable to us. Seriously, none of this shit that JFL is doing for us right now is valuable to us. Because we could have guys score. They're way better at scoring than you. Scotty, RJ, Emmanuel. What do you do that's going to add to help us to get to the championship more, JFL? Seriously, what is it that you are going to add specifically, uniquely from yourself? Because honestly, I don't want you taking scoring shots if Grady can take that shot instead. I don't want you scoring and stuff. So why the fuck would we put you on the floor as one of our scorers? Like, you have no route into a deep rotation, like a regular rotation, because when we're all healthy, we have better scoring options than you. What are your other skills that help us otherwise? Mic drop right there. That's what I'm saying. Seriously. Fiercely saying, agreed with Cool Cat. Work ethic, but also fundamentals are key. Grady was able to turn his season around. It is very telling to me. Perfect proof of someone willing to absorb critique and put in that work and listen and do it quickly and tailor make it. And part of it is the palette, the foundation of Grady Dick and how he's been built as a player, as a youngster, is fundamentally so good that it's just about the shot. If the shot is perfect, the way he shoots it, that he can go and do all kinds of stuff easier than other people because he came complete in a certain area in a very, very good way. That is valuable. Him shooting those threes is obviously valuable. You can see it. But not only that, this is the great thing. He's fundamentally done really good job learning how to attack the rim and lay the ball up. He's got really good fundamentals in some ways on boxing out and getting rebounds. He's got really good fundamentals on looking at spacing and understanding offensive flows and where to go himself, whether it's cutting or going certain places. And we've also seen a high aptitude on him manufacturing his own shot by little step backs or little moves, just a little way to shake the defender and getting a quick release and hitting a shot. He's been doing that more lately too. These are real skills that are valuable and can help an NBA team. What I just said is what I'm saying. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, at Fiercey, fundamentals will be improved if you have work ethics. No excuse. Lifetime opportunity. That's right. You need to ensconce them in you so it's like you can be unconscious and your body would do it and you're not even awake because you did it so many fucking times for so many years. And that's the difference between a Grady Dick that went and shot and shot and shot since he was like 5 years old till this point to get to the point where he is now. In some ways, you have to do it the right way every single time, over and over, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Marquise Noel knows about this, that his fundamentals are sound and embedded in him. It's like if you put Marquise Noel on autopilot, turn his brain off, his body knows what the moves to do because he did it a certain way and printed the pattern of the activity kinetically in the way he would do it. You could turn him off and he would probably do whatever he's going to do because he did it so many damn times already. That's what we're talking about. That work ethic, along with building the fundamentals so they're ensconced in your inherent character as a basketball player. And some of these guys don't have that in their inherent character in their basketball careers right now. And that's the problem right there. Kenny's saying Malik wasn't bad. He was a physical presence in center. That's the one thing I will give him. And in some ways, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, we just got the guy off the waiver wire that's just a big, if you look at his ratings on a video game, he's all 50s and at the bottom. And he's really just like the last opportunity chance person you throw in just as a filler for size to take up space and get rebounds. And that's the one thing he can do fundamentally just because of his body type. But there's no skill on top of that, Kenny. There is no skill. There's no offensive skill. And honestly, in some ways, this is his chance. He needs to put a better foot forward if he wants to impress people like me or the team and stick around. So Cowboys saying he wasn't good either, though, Kenny. Did he even get a block? Yeah, let me look at him real quick. I don't think he did get it. I don't think he's gotten very many blocks or anything while he's been on the team. No, he didn't get a block last night. Let me go look at his game log. I can go and tell you how many blocks this guy has for us. It could be that he has like 0. All right, this guy has scored 13 points in 5 games. He has 4 blocks. So he's averaging 0.8 blocks so far. He's averaging 6 rebounds. That's his best stat. And even that is not, man, he could be averaging so many more rebounds already. Seriously. I'm being nitpicky, but the man is shooting 24% for us. 24% and 0 at the free throw line. 0 for 2. The only 2 free throws he shot, he missed both of them. So, man, that's no good. That's no good. Chris is saying if you watch Malik run, just run the court. You can easily tell he's not as athletic as you need to be for the NBA, as hard as he might try or think about. Some things are just not there. Exactly. I saw that too. In some ways, it's like man, we need agile big men. Some of these guys that y'all have been telling me to look at for the draft are way better in this kind of way, like Bobby and Ware. And even that guy y'all had me look at earlier this week, Missy. These guys all move and get up around the court better than Malik Williams. In some ways, Malik Williams has some of the knocks that Zach Edey's getting right now on the court. Seriously, he's slow and he's not reacting quick enough to get to people in the low post when they're coming from a different angle all of a sudden. He's not turning quickly and coming to them. They're going right behind him and getting the layup. He has no reaction speed or reaction time to adjust on the fly. And if the misdirection has him going one way, well, he's not going to recover and come back the other way and stop the other way. That's something that I noticed with him, and that's a problem. Cowboys saying, I can't wait for this draft. June 27th. Let's grow. Yeah, that's a while from now. We got some time still. Tommy's got Masai, Darko, and Mo on blast here. King Masai. Darko will grow, the Raptor head, and then Mo with the cup. I like seeing her with the Larry O'Brien there. Yeah. Cowboys saying, can you scout Jacoby Walter? That Jabrani shouldn't count. I don't want to do it again. Bring him up tomorrow. I did Bronny. It's official. That's funny, though. I'm going to give you a dunk. How about this, Cowboy? Because I think it's funny what you said. Actually, I'm going to give you a 2-pointer because we don't like putting you on 46. Fuck that shit. Let's see. Seymour saying free up, big up, pickleball champ, aka Water Girl, truly missed. Yeah, no, she's cool. She's cool. She's all good. There's no ill feelings or weirdness. I mean, if she's mad at me, that's fine. But I mean, she's not. I'm not mad at her, and she's not banned from here. She's allowed to come in here if she wants to. Let's see. Seymour saying, "Ta-da, salute." All right, we got to do the ta-da because you said ta-da. Sheriff getting the respect. All right, guys, listen. Your property may have needs. I know this property that I live in right now, my landlord's place, it needs needs. It's got needs, all kinds of needs. It needs. Like there's a duct that's open in the side of the building outside, and there's a bird nest inside of it. And there's like a little bird family living in the hole in the wall in the building upstairs. There's also paneling that just came off the side of the building in a windstorm. And there's all kinds of issues with this place. There's flooding. The side of the house, the water comes in down and gets into the guy in the basement's apartment all the time if it rains too much. Well, it sounds like my landlord needs to call Dada. I won't call him for him. But I don't care. In some ways, I'll be moving out of this place, and all these dumbass problems with this house will be the next person's problems. So yeah, call Tada 647-833-6844 if you have any issues like this apartment that I live in that my landlord just doesn't fix. How about that? Yeah, there you go. Tada Services. You can call them and get a free quote. There you go. There you go. Fiercely saying, Lex, don't want to pressure you, but the WNBA season starts next month. Will you do the fantasy league? Also, draft is on April 15th. Yes, we will do the fantasy league for sure. I'm still hoping that Yahoo will make the infrastructure to do it on Yahoo Fantasy Sports, but I'm not holding my breath. It's probably likely we're going to have to play on ESPN again, Fiercely, just so you know. But yes, I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, getting to be ready for this. I know that I'm going to be very hectic and busy, but I will get this all set up so that we play this again. I do not know if I'll go that in depth on draft coverage. Once again, if we don't have a Toronto team actively playing, I'm not going to go in depth on the WNBA until that happens. We will have a glancing interest in it on this channel as far as it develops with Teresa Resch and the Kilmer group. But otherwise, I'm not going to be going full head on into WNBA this summer until we have a Toronto franchise. So it's a half kind of looking at it. We'll talk about main stories, maybe Caitlin Clark and stuff like that. We'll talk about our fantasy league, but I'm not going to be going in depth on covering it in any kind of way until we have a Toronto team, just so you know. Cowboys saying, really fiercey, April 15th? You sure? That sounds about right. It all starts happening during the playoffs, and then their season really starts kicking off right when the playoffs are finishing. So, yeah, that's coming up real quick. Yeah, no rest for the wicked with basketball right now. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying Silver calling out Cardinal Sin on some big BS he endorses. Make it make sense. But Jonte should have been smarter about his career. The future looked bright. Yeah, he really threw it all away. It's stupid. This is a cautionary tale. You don't want any appearances to look fishy. That's why Darko said, I have nothing to do with betting culture in my life in any kind of way. You don't want any kind of suspicions to arise. And Jonte was living a life where he was playing fast and loose with financial advice on Discord servers, and bullshit was happening. Yeah, he gave the door in the open as far as like, you know what, this guy's all about making quick money. Like, yeah, in some ways you don't even have that air of suspicion around you. In some ways, you don't want any family members that are gambling themselves. In some ways, that could be a whole problem for you. If I was an NBA player, I would be like, yeah, you're my brother. I love you, but you can't gamble ever again because honestly, you're going to make me look bad if any kind of some sort of weird thing happens and they try and investigate it. I could be innocent and you could make me look bad just by gambling. Seriously, I would be like that. I would be like, nobody in my crew gambles. Anybody in my entourage, if you're going to be around my house, you are not gambling around me because I don't want any kind of closeness to anything, proximity to anything that could be suspicious about gambling allegations. I would be protecting myself like that. Players protect themselves with some of the ladies of the night that they're hanging out with, non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that. Well, you got to do things that cover your ass in the new NBA. And when it has to do with gambling, you just don't want to even be associated in any kind of way. And Jonte was stupid. He was like, he didn't even understand that this is something that he probably shouldn't be like connected to in any kind of way, whatever. If he's exonerated once again, then he's innocent. I will apologize and I'll retract everything and I will say all kinds of things glowing and I'll tell other people to apologize too, if that's the way it happens in the end. But yeah, he shouldn't have done this shit. And I think you're right. It is very much kind of messed up the priorities of the NBA and what they value and what does matter and what doesn't. And like domestic violence and violence against women, they're really blind and stupid to right now. In some ways, Adam Silver, you're fucking up as far as your stances on domestic violence. And in some ways, yeah, okay, you endorse this betting culture, but you're going to slap people on the wrist. I get what she's saying. Exactly. Yeah. Fiercely saying, yeah, Cowboy, I'm looking at an email I got from the WNBA. Draft is at 7:30 on ESPN, April the 15th. So that's like in 4 days. Caitlin Clark will be going to the Indiana Fever, and she got her jersey retired at Iowa right away. Right away. They did it like yesterday or something like that. It's crazy. Yeah. Where in the world is who? Carmen Sandiego? Get 100% get rid of all that gambling garbage. That's right. I'm with you. Tom's saying get that garbage out of here for sure. That's right. All right, you guys are looking for Miss Moody. That's what you're wondering. Okay. Infamous is saying a bit off topic. Can you speak on the taxpayer cover 1 billion while the investors only picking up 450 million of the expenses of Ontario Place? Doug needs to go. Now, you really got to get me mad because, like, yeah, I know about this. Yeah, it's so messed up. It's such a racket. I know he's getting a kickback or a favor or some sort of crazy shit from this. There's no way that he's not financially gaining something from this somehow, some way. Yeah, this is messed up. We don't want this. And why is our public money going to fund this for a company from the outside of Canada to make money off of us? Those profits and monies go to a country in Europe. They don't even come to stay in Canada. I'm sick of our politicians selling out our public lands, our public institutions to foreign investors to make a buck for themselves and selling us out and putting us in these situations where parasitic outside foreign entities are making money off of us, whether it's that toll road that Mike Harris set up that's so bad. Why can't we see the parallels between the Mike Harris toll road that to this day is absolutely a horrible deal that has been horribly fucking being thing for us? That road has been a bad idea in all kinds of ways. And now we're going to do a similar kind of mistake with Therme and a lease at Ontario Place. Yeah, it's messed up, Infamous. And if you feel mad about this, we need to come after Doug Ford and get him the fuck out of office. He needs to be impeached. He needs to be kicked out right now. In some ways, I know he has the Cop Police Benevolence Society on his side. And in some ways, they said they were investigating for the Greenbelt scandal, but that didn't go anywhere because I don't trust our system. I feel like the police are corrupted because they're in the pocket of Doug Ford. And if they did a correct investigation on him, they'd nail him to rights and he'd be out of office right now. But the money's too good and the people are greasing the wheels in the right ways. And honestly, the whole system's corrupt at this point. As long as Doug Ford can sell our public lands to foreign investors and fucking we pay the bill for this shit too. Like we have to pay for this stupid ass parking garage that nobody fucking wants. Seriously, this is a big problem. And Infamous is exactly right. Doug Ford needs to go. Yesterday, 2 years ago, he needed to go. And it's just getting worse and worse. Yeah. Cowboy's saying also off topic. What's the farmer app say? All right. Yeah, that'll make me calm down. That's just my little side. If that pisses you off like me, we need to make our voices heard and we need to continue to put the pressure to get Doug Ford out of office as the premier of Ontario. He's been absolutely a destructive, bad force. He is a Trump politician. And any kind of way he can run a racket in this province to make money for himself, he will. He's going to make money off the healthcare by short staffing and short budgeting our hospitals so that he can make the case that, oh, we need more private healthcare. And then he'll give all these cushy things to healthcare companies that he is in business with that they will fucking kick back money to him and he will profit off himself. The motherfucker is a mobster, just like fucking any mobster in organized crime in the history. And he is running rackets as the premier of Ontario right in front of us, just like Donald Trump did as the president. Seriously, when did we get to this point where politicians are just allowed to run rackets on the public and public funding and public people all over the place? Whether it's the Congress in the U.S. with their insider trading bullshit, whether it's the Supreme Court getting kickbacks from fucking big donors so that they can make rulings in their favors. This shit is all corrupt and fucked up at this point, all politics on North America. And the day will come and the reckoning will come when the public will stand up and say, this is not what we want anymore. And we're going to come take things in the right way. And we need to do it the right way because we're sick of money corrupting and we're sick of the politicians making it a business of rackets for themselves. in all kinds of facets, whether it's education, healthcare, whether it's Ontario Place, whatever the fuck you're trying to do, Doug Ford. You're a fucking immoral, corrupt, racketeering mobster piece of shit. And you deserve to get the fuck out of office right now. You do not represent the people of Ontario, and you need to go fucking jump in the lake of Ontario. This is what you need to do, you piece of shit. All right, yeah, let me go look at the app. I'll calm down. Yeah, you won't get me worked up. I'll get worked up on that, Infamous. That's for sure. Yeah, I will. I will. All right, let's see. Today is the best day to begin diet to gain weight. Okay, wait. Usually, if you do a diet, you want to lose weight. But if you start your diet today, all right, anybody, if you're going to start a diet today, don't do it because this is what happens. So many times people were like, I did a diet, but I actually gained weight on it. Well, this is the wrong day to do it, apparently. Because if you start your diet today, you'll actually gain weight. So if you're like me or Chris Boucher or Mohamedou, maybe you want to start your diet today. That's right. Get a little weight on you, Chet Holmgren. This is the best day for you to start a diet today, Chet Holmgren. Yeah, there you go. So that's today's a great day to start a diet if you want to gain weight. That's weird, man. That's weird. Tom's looking at it funny too. Let's see. There's a squirrel and a bird. Okay, I like that. Wayne's saying, okay, hang on. It jumped ahead. Let me make sure. Where's that squirrel? I just saw. Okay, there it is. Wayne's saying Dennis did his job while a Raptor. I miss him. Yeah. Yeah, he could have easily been doing that for us the other way last night, and we would have been the team winning. Seriously. It could have been that much of it. I'm not trying to diss Emmanuel. It's just Emmanuel's younger. Dennis has more experience. In some ways, Dennis is more savvy and vet on how to close a game out and win. And Emmanuel's going to learn and get better. In some ways, Emmanuel's a much more talented player than Dennis. But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes knowledge, insider understanding of how to make it happen is better than, promise of really good talent and all this kind of stuff. Well, do you know how to do it, though? Dennis knows how to do it. That's it. It's not that Emmanuel won't learn, and he will do it in the future. I promise you he will. 100% at Wayne. Yeah, I miss Dennis too. Chris is saying Keon Clark was high on the down low. McDaniels looks to be high on the high low. But at the same time, who knows? Makes no difference. I think Jalen is gone. I really do. We will draft a wing. Well, Jalen's under contract next year. So if we see the pattern of what Masai and Bobby are doing, they're not cutting people and paying them if they're, send home. So he's going to be on our team next year unless he's waived and we eat his contract. But it's like a $5 million contract almost next year. And in some ways, that's a high price. You might as well just pay him, even if he's on the bench and he never amounts to anything. If breaking in case emergency is the same thing as this year, it's still better than having him on the bench. It's still better having him on the bench than not paying him to stay home. So it's kind of that way. Yeah, Keon drank like a liter of vodka at halftime every single game he played for the Raptors, guys. Let's see. Isaac saying, App says, hey, bud, how's it growing? Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. Mo saying W stream, Lex, keep at it always. Good times approaching. Go Raps for life, regardless of the situation. Raptor Freak family crew strong. There you go. That's right. 100% Tom Duke, 100% Monique. Carlos saying Grange has another article. So the main plan was Schroder was going to be backup to Quick, but he's shown signs that he doesn't want to be a backup here. Okay, well, Grange is going to say whatever he's going to say. I mean, I could see that. In some ways, he was sold the idea at the beginning of the year. He was the FIBA MVP, that he was going to be the starting point guard for Darko. And he trusted Darko because he spent a lot of time with him. Well, things didn't exactly go the right way in certain ways. In some ways, he wasn't totally necessary. I mean, I'm not going to totally trust Grange on this, Carlo. I trust you. You're a great guy. And you're just reporting what he's saying. But I don't totally trust him on this shit. All the signs showed that Dennis was hurt by leaving us. And in some ways, I don't think that him not accepting being a backup guard was the problem. I think it's the fact that his contract was a certain size and we're trying to free shit up for next year. And that's really more what it is. It's not about whether Dennis started or came off the bench or whether Dennis was unhappy and he asked to be traded or anything like that. No, that's not what it was. Because I know for a fact Dennis did not ask to be traded. You think he asked to be separated from his family for the rest of the season? No. So logically, you can work this out Winders-wise to know that Grange is full of shit. Because honestly, why would he ask to be away from his family for 4 months when he could have easily just stayed here? And he had no problem coming off the bench earlier in the season, even with IQ being here. I really think this was a front office decision. And in some ways, it was not the one Dennis wanted. I mean, it's evident in some ways. Yeah. Thanks for the W's, Tom. Kareem saying, Tom, if you find a foam middle finger icon, please implement it for Dana, please. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if they do middle finger icons on YouTube, but if we do have one, yeah, maybe you do get that one. I don't know. I don't want to sacrifice a Raptor icon like with the faces for a middle finger salute. But yeah, I mean, if you can do that in somehow, in some way, maybe that'd be cool. Isaac, Cowboys laughing at Isaac, the cowboy. Tom Duke saying, you bet. And there's a little bit of blah, blah, blah. All right, let's see. Randolph saying, Lex, Adam Silver says that he may have to make an example out of Jonte. John Morant was vindicated on self-defense in one of the cases. Yeah, but listen, I would say this right now. That doesn't mean that he wasn't guilty or didn't do something fucked up. It's just that, listen, he has very good lawyers. And that's always the case in these kind of things. Now, I've heard the blow by blow of what happened in that pickup game in this thing where they said it was self-defense. Now, he has a good lawyer, and it's a very easy case to make when there's shit talking on a court and somebody's coming at you aggressively. Now, he's saying that he thought he was going to hit him, and that's why he hit him first. And in some ways, he made that argument, and the lawyer that he paid made that argument in a very convincing way that now they're saying that it was self-defense. Listen, I don't trust anything in courts with people that have money. I really don't. You can buy justice in this world. And in some ways, look, they want this to go away in a nice way for him. I'm not saying that Ja did anything that egregiously bad. He punched a guy in a pickup game. And in some ways, it shouldn't be such a big deal. In today's litigious world, this is a big deal. In some ways, that guy should just take his lumps and just gone home and shut the fuck up. But he sees dollar signs. He's trying to come at him. Well, John Morant gets a good lawyer, and he makes the case for self-defense, and the judge sides with him. And, that's great. In some ways, you're saying he's vindicated, but not really, because his lifestyle allowed for this. And once again, in certain ways, you just don't want to be associated with gambling. You want to be associated with certain nefarious things. And gun culture is one of them. You don't want to be associated with that in the NBA. Just ask Gilbert Arenas. So John Morant still needs to get his life in order to be an NBA player in a good standing and not have to worry about outside distractions or bullshit. And if he got rid of some of his crew that was part of the problem, that's great. If his dad started growing up a little bit more and looking out for him in the right way, a little bit more like a dad should, that's great. If he has better vets around him with Derrick Rose and Marcus Smart, that's great. Because in some ways, he is the epitome of a waste if he fucking flames out of this league because of stupid ass shit that has nothing to do with basketball. And that's the thing. He's vindicated in that case only because the judge saw it the same way as a very high-priced lawyer explained it to him. And forgive me for not being totally believable in the justice system at this point. You can pay for justice if you're rich enough. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, you can call it vindicated, but there's a lot of other behaviors around him that have kind of looked. I want him to get his career. I like the young man. I think he's supremely talented. I'm just very disappointed in his ineffectiveness at getting rehabilitated from being very bad influenced with gun culture. I very much disagree with how he's dealt with guns in his life. And I hope that he gets as far away from that stuff as possible. Now, if we see him do some knuckleheaded thing in this year coming up, and I'm just be like, yeah, this guy's an idiot. In some ways, he had everything in the world as an NBA player, and he's going to throw it all away just to act like a wannabe gangster. Yeah, that's messed up. In some ways, he's got to be smarter than that. Cowboys saying, "Alley-oop, Kareem, I'll vote for that." All right, what did he say? You guys are commenting from things before. Okay, the middle finger. Okay, that's what he's saying. Okay, later, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Thanks, Cowboy. Carlos saying, I want a proper backup point guard. Play falls off a cliff when Quick sits down. That's why I don't like young point guard development. Either get a guy who's been in the league like Tyus Jones. We brought him up. He may need to be a starter, though. He's a starter level kind of player. Get a Dennis Schroder. Get a Corey Joseph. Get somebody who's been around a bit that can manage the team in the right way like a Thaddeus or a Garrett Temple does as an old head vet. Corey Joseph. Next season, Corey Joseph, Bobby Webster. Corey Joseph. He can do exactly what we need to do. Nothing flashy. Is Scotty going to be point guard on a backup point guard on some nights? And Corey Joseph does backup point guard on certain nights too. It's all good. It is all good. That's right. Let's see. Wayne saying unprofessional people detest professionals. Dennis Schroder is a total professional. You're taking an analysis correct. Lexicon, he added potential wins and extra salary costs. I don't think IQ was the issue. Yeah, it's none of that. It really was just a fit. In some ways, the money was a certain way. In some ways, he was a pet project for Darko because he was somebody he felt comfortable with trusting at the beginning. When he's establishing his culture, Dennis was important to establish Darko's culture at the beginning because he was a point guard that Darko trusted, that he had worked with before. And in some ways, Dennis understood what was important to Darko when nobody else understood. And that was why he had such a key part at the beginning of our season. In some ways, he really helped Darko get established. And I don't think many casual Raptors fans understand this about Dennis Schroder. That was a very important part of what he was trying to do. If he had a certain level of quality and professionalism he wanted, Darko wanted, well, Dennis pushed it forward himself and helped in those kind of ways. And I think you're exactly right. There's a lot of unprofessionalism in this league at this point. And when professional people are around, they're speaking their mind, it rubs people the wrong way sometimes. And that's why right around, there was a certain point around Christmas, I went off on Scott because I felt like from Dennis's interview that there was something wrong with people not being for one, all for one for all. And Dennis was kind of calling it out in the interview. Some people got mad because they felt like Dennis was airing our laundry and kind of saying certain things. But I was also like, no, he's just crying out. And if he sees there's a problem with this team, he's probably right. And we need to do something about it. But that could, it could be a lot of that. It could be a lot of different reasons. This is the weird thing. Scotty may not have totally liked being bossed around by Freddie and Dennis. I don't think that's totally true, but that's the perception by Scotty lovers, at least. But I will say this, those guys have had an influence on him since they've left. Fred had an influence on Scott. Pascal had an influence on Scott. Dennis had an influence on Scott. And in some ways, maybe some of the behaviors that Dennis did with holding people accountable when he was on the team are something that Scotty's mimicking at this time. I mean, you see Scotty yelling at our team from the sidelines like a coach on defensive assignments and getting to the right place. And that's something that, is very Dennis-like in some ways, holding accountability for professional level of everything. And that's what Giannis was crying out about with the ball girls and the people that do all the things around the team. You got to have a certain level of professionalism. That's right. Carlos said, I love Schroeder so much, spunk and fight. I would have loved if he was our backup point guard. Yeah, he was great last night. Let me look at his box score real quick, because in some ways we should celebrate. I did not give him a star because in some ways I did not want to lose last night. So I didn't like that he beat us. 7 for 18, 2 of 8 from 3, 5 of 5 at the free throw line. Those free throws were very key late. He went to the line and he drained those free throws when it really mattered. Meanwhile, we had guys missing free throws at the end of the game. That's a key right there. That Dennis hit the clutch free throws right at the end. 7 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 21 points for Dennis Schroder. And he started slow and he finished really big in the fourth. He didn't hardly have any points through most of the game. He showed up at the end and did the last stuff to make things happen right. Even Day'Ron Sharp was killing us down low. He had 8 rebounds. Watford, 7 rebounds, 6 rebounds for Jalen Wilson, 11 rebounds for Claxton. Schroeder, 7 rebounds. Clowney, 7 rebounds. So all their guys are getting rebounds like crazy. And yeah, our guys, not so much. Emmanuel was like our only plus. Him and JFL, +5 and +2. Everybody else minus or even. Yeah. All right, let's see. Where am I now? I'm at MSJ. Okay, Jillian will be notified. Cool. What do you mean? What do you mean notified? You don't need to notify her if she's watching. I think she watches me still, Chris. I think she does because she does come by and talk to me on the Facebook. I know you're not on Facebook anymore, so you don't see her in there talking with us because you're not in there with us as much. I think you quit on Facebook, right? Didn't you? Mike saying, rest in peace, O.J. Simpson. Did O.J. Simpson just die? All right, let me go look at this. This is crazy. If this is true, I could see that. Yeah. Simpson family announces OJ has died. He had been battling cancer. Well, in some ways, look, I don't know how to handle this in some ways, honestly, Mike, but I appreciate it. Salute the real ones. Project Truth always. Mike, good to see you. Country Kong saying, Lex, Grady played great last night. The way he shoots over smaller defenders with ease reminds me of Tatum. His confidence in his dribble is improving. He needs more strength to finish around the rim. That's what he said after the game. He's going to build his strength up and be a better defender and have more strength attacking the rim. Yeah, his confidence in the dribble is improving. I agree with that. I do not agree with the Tatum comparison. He's a 10 times better shooter than Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is just not a very good shooter. Now, if you want to make the comparison that he recognizes how to shoot over smaller defenders, okay. But Tatum is not anywhere near as good a shooter as Grady. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Grady was awesome. He had his career night last night. Very, very proud of Grady. Great bright spot last night. Wayne saying regarding Webster's comments, positivity in the camp might be a stretch. Not saying it's dog shit, but a 15-game losing streak has no positivity. Opportunities around for younger players. That's it. No, you're exactly wrong, Wayne. And this is a testament to Darko being such a great coach. We just went through a 15-game losing streak, and our team is in a better place than it was at the beginning of the season. That's crazy to me, Wayne. Seriously, think about the odyssey and the journey of this year. And we're in a better position than we've been in whole entire year right now. We really are. The vibes and the passion and the dedication of the Raptors to get better is higher than it was all year right now. In some ways, guys knew they were leaving and it was unsettled and weird around the team. Well, that energy is lifted and is light. That's what he's describing. That the old is gone and the new is here, and the new is excited about getting to the ground and working. And these guys are not holding their head like they just lost 15 games. These guys are not upset and depressed and sad or saying like, oh, there's a stretch of positivity. No, the positivity is real. It's very, very real. And why wouldn't they have positivity? Because of this, Wayne. 10 buck 3 right here. This is why they have positivity, because the future's so bright. They got to wear shades. The future's so bright when Scotty gets healthy. Jakob shows back up. We have our full team. We know we're going to be good. So I don't understand why you don't think we're going to have it's going to be a stretch for positivity in camp. No, it's just like Matt Devlin said. He's excited for next season already. He said it on this like, man, this is going to be a long off season because I really want to get back to work and see this Raptors team continue to work under Coach Darko with this addition. So yeah, no, it's not a stretch. It's actually true. And the vibes around the team are better than ever right now than they were at any time this whole entire season. Seriously. And that's a testament to Darko's consistency, the way he's coached this team the whole year, being very solid to get to this point where, you know what? We had all the worst things happen to us, but we're in the best shape we've been in all year. Not injury-wise, but vibes-wise and the way the team is feeling and how positive they are. Seriously, this team's very positive and they're bought in. Kelly Olynyk's wearing a Raptors hat backwards. Scotty is yelling like a coach. RJ cares. All these guys care more than the guys that at the beginning of the season did about the Raptors. And I'm not trying to knock on Anunoby and all them. I'm just saying the guys that are on the team currently right now are more dedicated to being a Toronto Raptor in the future and the progress and the good stuff that's coming up than these guys that were at the beginning of the season. It's just the damn truth. Precious, Malachi, Anunoby, even Pascal. We can put them all on the list because it was ambiguous what their future was with us. Well, these guys know their future and they're ready to get to work and they're happy and they're positive and they know they're going to be good because they got Scotty, they got Jakob, they got RJ, they got an IQ. So, yeah, I'm telling you, it's a lot more positive around the team right now than ever. And forget about the 15-game losing streak. That's the injuries that did that. Yeah. Yeah. Chris is saying, I get you, Lex, but I played small forward. When I got to university, they asked me if I was a point guard. The small forwards were all 6'7". I was done. So JFL was top scorer in G League. He would be the sorry. I mean, listen, I don't mind if they want to have him as a project, but I don't see the point. In some ways, it's just a waste to even invest the time, the energy, and the money. I'm just saying that. In some ways, the ceiling of what he can become is not that impressive to me. In fact, he probably is already what he can become right now. And that scorer that you're saying, that top league scorer in the G League. Yeah, he can be the leading scorer in the G League. That doesn't mean jack shit in the NBA. Seriously, it really doesn't. That is every question. Zach Edey's transferring his from the college game to the NBA. You've got to do the same thing with JFL. The NBA game is a totally different game than the G League. And G League scoring and prowess and that does not translate. I'm just going to tell you that right now. In some ways, he's shown signs and brilliance in the last couple games with his scoring, but that is not going to be a consistent thing. In fact, the 2 games we just played were against really shitty defensive teams in some ways. And of course, he's going to go off. When he's going to play teams that are better defensive teams, top level playoff teams, he's not going to be able to do jack shit. He can do it against a shitty Pacers team on defense. He can do it against a shitty Nets team. But if he plays any team of quality, in fact, we'll have to see if he can do this against the Heat this weekend. Because honestly, I don't know if he can score or do anything against real NBA teams that have real good defense that actually are trying on defense. Because these 2 teams we just played, they're not the best defensive teams. Let's just put it that way. Country Con saying he's a 3-level scorer with a deadly 3, so you have to run him off the 3. But his fundamentals are so good that he can react and put the ball on the floor and get to the mid range where he's even more lethal. He's talking about Grady. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about that. He's talking about Grady. He's talking about Grady. Let's see. Yeah, well, yeah, he could be a very good player, starter material. I think he will be a starter down the road, and there's nothing wrong with that. But he should be a six man for a little bit and get that roll down first. Chris is saying, I called my high school coach, well hid widow, told her his assistants to force me to play small forward. Fucked my chances for this chance at the Vietnamese league as a point guard. Very upset. Talk to you all later, everyone. Okay, I don't know if he's being serious or joking. Yeah, I don't totally understand the comment, but let's see. Country Kong saying, agree, Chris. I can't overstate how excited I am for his future. If he gets in the gym this summer and gains more strength, it's over. He'll be able to finish over Clowney and Claxton. Have a good one. Well, that's saying a lot right there. What he's going to gain some ups or something? I don't know. In some ways, strength will happen for sure. But yeah, I'm all about him getting better, and I know Grady's going to get better. The certain things about him, they're just in the package of who he is as a player, are going to be so badass to see develop over time. Monique is saying deep conversations today. We need these sometimes. There you go, Monique. I like that. Fiercey saying thank you, Lex and W Stream. You're welcome, Fiercey. Anytime. I would honestly feel more confident with Edie on the Raptors instead of Williams. Oh yeah, he's much more useful player because he's 7'4". And he's just as slow as Malik. Malik and them are probably about the same size, but at least the 7'4", the wingspan. And also, Zach has way more polish on his offensive game than Malik Williams. He has a better touch and shot around the basket. He will make shots. He's a higher percentage shooter. There's all kinds of reasons why Zach Edey is a way better player than Malik Williams. Hey, Evelyn. Hi. Hi, Evelyn. All right, let me go through the stuff. All right, I should do Instagram stories, right? Yeah, let me see. There. First, we got Dennis Schroder, and he's celebrating Eid. Once again, guys, Dennis is Muslim, and he was celebrating Eid Mubarak. So thank you to all my Muslim brothers. He's saying and sisters, Happy Eid Mubarak. Yeah, that was yesterday. There he is coming into the game against us last night, looking all ready. There he is. You got a picture of him laying the ball up, and he wrote in the caption, "I airballed this layup, guys." You can see IQ in the picture. Here he is dribbling the ball up the court. Good team win is what he's saying about the win last night against us. And then after the game, here he is with a young player with a Schroeder 17, and it says they always write the captions underneath shit, and it's really hard to say. That's the way to show love. Thanks, Brooklyn. There you go. Man, Dennis, I'm so sorry that Toronto didn't do you right this season. In some ways, it pisses me off. We see Gary Trent Sr.'s walking through some airport somewhere. That looks kind of like Atlanta Hartsfield, but it probably isn't. Grady's got his career highlights on blast from his career game last night. That step jab and taking it back. Oh, man, he was doing so good. You're right, Country Kong. Grady is really something else. He gets that spot. He has an idea what he's going to do. I wish Jalen McDaniels had an idea what he's going to do when he gets the ball. JFL also showing his highlight reel a bit here. We see him get a steal. And then, that dunk he had in transition was nice. He had some ups on that. Like, for a little guy, I have to say, JFL is very athletic. And getting up there and throwing it down like he did on that one transition dunk was really, really good, honestly. Gary Trent Jr. is at some sort of shop looking at glasses, it looks like. And then there's the picture of the weight room with all the guys freaking out during the game. That's not the game last night. That's the game before. And there's a highlight he's showing of JFL dunking. He liked the JFL dunking highlight. So Gary's celebrating JFL's breakaway dunk also. Precious is telling us to talk nice because the New York Knicks have clinched the playoffs for 2024. And in some ways, there you go, Precious. I'm glad to see you get into the postseason, my guy. Let's see who else is on here. We got the guys coming out to the game on the Raptors official. Kelly Olynyk shooting before the game, even though he didn't play. We had a big discussion about this in the Facebook chat about players shooting around before the game, even though they're not going to play. This happens all the time. You know, sometimes players, they know they're not going to play, but they want to get shots up and work out and still kind of get a workout. Like Jakob being out there only using his right hand before the game. Scotty shooting around before the game last night. Chris, Gary, Bruce, they were all out there shooting around, but none of them played. They were all just getting out there getting work before the game. That happens all the time. So when we see them shoot around before the game, that's not a guarantee that they're actually playing, just so you know. Marquise is on off season already. He's in a tub. And he's just on the off season already. Marquise Noel, get better this summer, come back next year, and take your backup point guard role with the Raptors. Do it, my guy, please. Slim Duck, he's like posting stuff. He's like he's in New York. riding around in New York on Brooklyn Bridge. Coloco's celebrating a basketball, football win. I think Barca won or something. So he's celebrating some sort of soccer match, something. Let's see, Dubber Yeah, I don't. Why am I looking at the former Raptors? There's Halliburton getting helped up by Pascal. Yeah, I don't need to look at these guys. In the offseason, I'll probably cut out all the guys who got traded from the Instagram check, just so y'all know. Although some of them are important, I probably still keep Fred and Pascal and some of the more important groats still in some ways. They got a rookie power rankings, and Grady gets a little bit of a mention on the ESPN rookie power rankings. They're saying he had some promises, but he's not rookie team material. He shouldn't be on one of the rookie teams, but he is in the honorable mention, basically, is what they're saying. All right, get your Yahoo fantasy team set up. It's very close in the championship matchup. Currently, HC is beating Peter Saborin by only 6 points. Very, very close. And the bronze game is separated by about 50 points. Duke over David right now. So, yeah, get your teams going. This is only a few days left. Then our Yahoo teams league will be over, and we'll crown a champion. And that'll be fun. All right, let me wrap it up, guys. Thanks for watching me today. A reaction to the Raptors losing to the Nets last night in a close one. Country Kong saying not over them with dunks, Lex. He'll have to figure out clever ways to finish around the rim. He's got good touch around the rim, but he's getting bodied. Yeah, some fakes. Maybe there's a little bit of like moving around like Kelly Olynyk does to fake people out. That's some stuff he could learn from Kelly, is how to get free near the basket and throw your defender off. Maybe get them to jump and bite, and then you get to go the other way, and you're going around them and making it. I think Grady's got some of this already, and he has good instincts to do this stuff correctly already, JP. Man, your guy's awesome. I'm with you on Club Grady at this point. I'm with you on this. Yeah. All right, let's do the recap. They lost. And my 3 stars of the game were Emmanuel Quickly, Grady Dick, and Javon Freeman Liberty. Honorable mention to maybe like, I don't know, Abaji, and maybe a little bit of honorable mention to Wara. Yeah, Mo G was 1 for 7, only 3 points. Jalen McDaniels, just a disappointment all around. 3 points in 14 minutes from the free throw line. Yeah, Wara 4 for 10, 2 from 5 from 3. He actually was pretty solid. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 11 points. Abaji 3 for 6, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 7 points. I can't say Abaji did anything wrong. I'm giving him a pass because I know what he's doing on the court with my eyes. And I love what Paul Jones was talking about, that, NBA players do so much more than just score. There's so much other things they're doing, because they were talking about TJ McConnell and like, how the hell is he in the league? He's a little guy and he doesn't even shoot that well. Well, Paul Jones explained there's like so many different actions that don't show up in the box score that TJ McConnell does so well that helps the team win. And sometimes those unwritten things are the things I'm talking about. We want players like that do the little things that add up to winning. And it's not necessarily about how much they score. It's about their impact on how the team does and whether they win or not. And that's why Abaji is kind of like TJ McConnell. I don't care about his stats. In some ways, I know he's out there doing stuff. I trust him because I see him blocking, I see him rebounding, and I see him trying to do certain things on defense. So, yeah, that's about it. Garrett Temple could have shot better. 1 for 6, 1 for 3. 4 offensive rebounds, though, for Garrett. He was working there. 6 rebounds altogether, 4 assists, 2 steals. Only 3 points for Garrett. He could have helped us a little bit too. All right, thanks for watching me today, guys. I'm over noon. I want to get done right now. Let's see. Wayne saying Dennis is Muslim. Had no idea. Blessings to Dennis and his family. Wish list for us is Gary Trent back, Dick body work, Ramsey opportunity to make the squad, front office close solid deals, and Darko doing Darko. Yeah, Darko's awesome. Darko is awesome. I'm really proud and really happy with our coach. This first year has not gone the way we wanted it to, but it's not his fault. He did the best he could considering everything. And in fact, sometimes testing yourself through really uncomfortable, bad situations is a better test than easy situations. It's like, what did they say? You shouldn't pray for easy life. You should pray for the strength to go through a hard life. And well, he went through a hard life this year and he had the strength to deal with it. He didn't have an easy time this year. And in some ways, that shows something about our coach being able to hold it together and be consistent no matter what. All right, thanks for watching me today. I'll be back with the preview for the first Miami game tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. on Friday morning. I appreciate everybody for watching me, and let's go Raptors. Stay strong, stay positive, and believe in your team. Believe in the team. Next year is going to be some turnover. We're going to have new players on our team with the core. And I'm hoping we get good quality players around there. They're more professional and more NBA ready than some of the guys that are running with them right now, because some of them don't need to be on our team next year. Just trust me on this. Seriously, there's better options around that we've seen this year. Ones like Ramsey and Noel than ones that are currently playing for the Raptors right now. All right, I appreciate everybody. Let's go Raptors. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors.